Welcome to DAX Machina, with your hosts, Naomi Finn, Steve Wildman Monrotis, and D.A. Roberts. Join us as we explore writing, books, authors, and all things horror. We will delve into the sightings, reports, encounters, and tales of monsters. We will also explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with others in the horror genre. We will investigate the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of books. They might just walk among us even now. Grab some popcorn and lock the doors. It's going to be a creepy journey. Welcome to DAX Machina.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us tonight on DAX Machina. Steve Wildman Monrotis will not be with us tonight or next week as he's on vacation. That poor guy. We're here in the Midwest with a cold front going through, and he's suffering through a cruise in the Caribbean. That poor guy. I feel so bad for him.
Bless his heart.
So he's going to be doing a little fun in the sun for the next couple weeks. But joining me tonight is Carrie Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, my brother from another mother, and Anthony, our erstwhile co-host who's been joining us recently. Anthony, appreciate you being here.
No
and
problem.
For those of you who remember, this is my youngest son Noah, who is a Twitch streamer at Twitch TV/Jorgamunder.
That's me. I'm that man.
How the hell are you guys? Doc, how the hell are you?
Wyatt, I am rolling.
I would hope that you know how I am. I mean, I live with you.
Yeah, you're across the hall.
Oh, man.
He's right in the other room.
What's
Yeah,
up?
dude, I'm literally across the hall from him. Like, I could
Exactly.
just run over there and just smack him real quick. Like, hey, what's up?
Might not work out well for you.
I
I
dare
can
you
reach my
to.
cane. You're
Right on air.
Punch in there, take his hat, and leave.
Yeah.
The glare from my bald head will probably flare out the camera. What's everybody drinking tonight?
Delicious honey flavored thing because sponsorship no likey. What?
Well, I have a Wild Hunt mead from the good folks over at Grow and Fill Meaderies.
There you go.
This is blood orange and cranberry mead. So this is going to be good.
That sounds delicious.
Where did you
Oh,
get
it
that?
is
Where are you
good.
getting those? Where'd you get that?
You can go to the website for these guys right here.
Mm-hmm.
Grow and Fill Meadery. They're in Vermont. And I got these shipped right to my door.
No shit. All right, good.
Doc, what do you got tonight?
He's
I
got
got
his.
some my custom designer glass from Hampton Inn.
Only the finest in designer plastic.
Only the finest plasticware for the discerning gentleman.
The discerning plastic drinking gentleman.
Exactly. I'm drinking some Bullet bourbon.
For those who drink only the finest in bourbons from the finest in plasticware.
Oh, Lord. Get my daily dose of plastic toxins mixed in with the alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there
there
you
you
go.
go. Yeah, what's a little carcinogen mixed in with your alcohol?
Oh yeah, I mean, you might as well get it already. You know,
Something's going to get you, man. Something's going to get you.
it'll all catch up to you eventually, right?
Yeah.
Sooner or later, everything does.
Bigfoot, plastic, whatever. It's going to get you.
Doc, where are you at this week? I know you're bouncing around the country.
I am in West by God, Virginia. I can hear the banjo music right outside, but nobody's told me I've had a pretty mouth, so that's a win.
That's always a bonus, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
You got to take those wins where you can get them.
Yeah, I hadn't had to shoot.
At a purty mouth.
You gonna do some praying, boy? Yeah. I just I hadn't had to shoot my way out of here, so that's pretty good.
Well, you're
You know,
awful pretty to be alone in West Virginia.
Oh God,
Somebody going to take you to the prom.
West Virginia.
Get
I
my
think West
son-
Virginia standards like it's like a California one.
Well, at least they still got Arkansas to look down on.
Oh man.
Oh, that's
Or
true.
Mississippi. Mississippi. We got to be.
Good point.
We're not always first in everything unless it's illiteracy in so many locations. But
Well, Missouri's first in potholes, guaranteed.
Well, I don't know. Illinois has some terrible roads.
You know,
I've driven
most-
through there a few
Go.
times.
Most states drive on the left side of the road. We drive on what's left.
Yeah, go to New York. New York's got some bad roads, and bad.
Dude, Illinois highways are so bad. Oh, Meg Mills in your chat said hi to me. Hello, Meg. How's it going? Oh, man.
Mark
I gotta-
Nader says he likes your hat.
You like the hat? It's actually my dad's.
Yeah, he stole it.
I absolutely stole this from him.
that must be a common theme, man. I was looking
What,
for one
stealing
of my
from him? Yeah, I'd steal from him all the time.
Yeah, I was looking for one of my shirts the other day, and I asked Lily Beth. I said, "Have you seen my shirt?" She said, "Yeah, it's in my closet." I said, "You little turd! How long's it been in there? A couple of months." Like, okay,
I don't have T-shirts of my own. I have T-shirts that my wife has allowed me to keep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Angie calls them our shirts. Nothing is my shirts are not mine; they're ours, according to her. So, yeah,
Community property.
yep, absolutely.
Guys, get a load of this.
Nightwear.
Marshall in my chat says, yeah, Illinois doesn't have potholes. They have 4 bed, 3.5 bath pot homes. They're bad.
I drive a Nissan Rogue, and every once in a while, it'll actually drop below road level.
Man,
Yep.
It's a good thing it's got enough oomph to climb back out.
For a 4-cylinder, it's really got some go.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one
those
too,
things are
man.
heavy.
We got a Rogue. That thing moves.
That thing
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, I love that little Rogue. But I digress. We're kind of having a good time here starting out. But we are actually here to talk about
sea monsters.
we're talking about sea
Topic.
monsters, lake monsters,
It
and
never-
water cryptids.
It never
Oh,
stays
man.
on topic at all. So,
What's
we started
what's the
this show
topic?
full mentality, like, yeah, we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about sea monsters, and then suddenly it's just like, hey, y'all ever hear about cars?
In
Squirrel.
West Virginia.
Yeah. Mountain Mama, take me
It'll go.
home.
it'll go off track by before then.
Doc, you want to show us your shirt?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Take it off. No, wait, so sorry.
Having angry sex with my snowmobile. Yeah, that's the line, the famous Doc line from Curse of the Wendigo. Those are
Yeah.
available now on the merch store, which is merchstore.daroberts.net. Hope you guys have
Nice.
checked that out. There's a bunch of good shirts on there now, including some NADP Region 2 shirts that are now available. Hope you guys will check those out as well.
I'm gonna have
I
to
need
grab
to
one
get
of those.
the merch store links.
Speaking
thrown
of
up.
merch store stuff, I actually have some news from my chat as well as anyone who cares. My merch store is about to get hats because we finally ended up getting the contract for embroidery.
Us
So there'll be
too.
some Jorgmunder
We're
hats
getting-
floating around here soon.
We're
Good.
getting the embroidery approved through Teespring, so we'll have hats as well.
Is it
We-
your hats or your dad's hats?
Through Stream Elements.
He's got his own hats.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he was going to
Yeah,
take
yeah,
yours.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm gonna steal his hats too. Don't worry.
Everybody's hitting us already. Da topic. We don't need a stinking topic.
We don't need no stinking topic.
And
That's
We don't need
Ellen.
no stinking topic.
Ellen,
Topic. There's an old superstition about wearing hats that were a dead man's hat. It's supposed to be bad luck, and it's just you're supposed to incur the wrath of the dead person. Noah's already informed me that when I'm gone, my hat collection's his. He doesn't give a crap.
Yeah, no. Wrath be damned. Those are my hats.
He's already
Legend.
informed me. Those aren't your hats. Those are mine until you're gone.
legends, smedgens.
No. They're mine before you're gone. I'm just lending them to you.
Touche.
Oh,
Then when you're
mercy.
gone, they go back to being my hats. Problem solved. Don't worry about it.
Well, none of your brothers wear hats like me anyway, so it's pretty much just me and you.
Yeah, true. Nick wears ball caps, but
I've got a few of those. Well, anyway, again, trying to steer it back toward lake monsters. It wouldn't be a collection of stories about lake monsters and discussing any kind of lake monsters without discussing probably the one that everybody knows, the famous Loch Ness monster. And it was Look what
Nessie.
Abbott, our own resident leprechaun next to me here, has actually been there 3 times.
4
4 times. Ooh.
4 times. I never saw the wee bastard either.
But maybe you were too drunk at the time.
I probably little aquavite, uscabe.
You know, sometimes it's necessary to go see a sea monster. You know, could be a piece of driftwood, and your hallucinogen-induced brain is just like, oh.
You drink enough, and anything out there is Nessie. You know what I mean? So
That's a fact.
could have.
Yeah, I mean, you
anything.
drink enough, and a 2 becomes a 10. So I mean,
Yeah.
Tell us about your experience at Loch Ness.
The first time I went, I was just driving around, just kind of exploring the town of Inverness, and I said, "Hey, let me go down this highway. I think this is the one to Loch Ness." And went on the banks of it, and there was a guy who I can't remember his name. Could probably pull him up. He's dedicated his life to Nessie research there. Left his job and bought a little caravan. And he's living in a little caravan down by on the banks of Loch Ness, right next to this little pub that they have there.
Is that the Scottish version of Chris Farley living in a van down by the river?
Yes, I'm living in a caravan on Loch Ness. So he's down there hanging out, and he does these little Nessie paintings and statues and trinkets and stuff like that, and sells those to help
statues of
help
Nessie.
fund
Like, are we talking like little figurines, or are we
Dude,
talking like 9-foot tall marble statues?
It's little wee statues, and a lot of it is from like the rocks there. And
I was hoping nobody was like building a massive shrine to Nessie.
Well, I mean that's pretty much what he has done. He's amassed a great deal of research on the subject over the years. I have to find him while we're talking about it, and but he's quite knowledgeable, and he's adamant about it. But I mean, there are sightings every year, and one of the latest ones was in September of last year by a British fellow up there that was in a kayak, I believe, flying a drone around. And it's but I never saw anything. You know, I went and visited Urquhart Castle, the ruins of the castle up on the banks of Loch Ness, and I took a river cruise, another trip with a buddy of mine from my family's old castle, the hotel now. But we went up there on a river cruise and hung out up and rode up and down the loch, and in hopes that maybe we'd see something. And he said sometimes people think they see something, sometimes they don't. But it's pretty interesting there. Beautiful, and deep, so deep, man. That's the thing about it. I was blown away with the depth of Loch Ness whenever they were talking about it, and they were like, yes, it's like 700 and almost like 800 feet deep, something like that. Yeah, so it's quite deep. And it has from what I remember them saying, it has like the largest amount of fresh water in Great Britain. It's one of the largest freshwater lochs or lakes there in Great Britain.
In the greater UK area.
Yeah, in the greater UK area.
There's been a lot of speculation on the Loch Ness monster over the years. Some people claim it was like a remnant prehistoric fish. Some people have claimed that it was driftwood. Of course, there's the famous photo that later turned out to be a hoax photo of somebody stuck like a weird neck on a little plastic submarine and took pictures of it in black and white from a distance. That one's been debunked. But the problem is there's been so many sightings, credible sightings over the years, that you can't fully just dismiss it. Supposedly there was one of the Catholic priests, a saint, had tried to banish the monster, and it actually attacked. There's a report from World War II where a patrol boat was attacked on the loch. There's been a lot of really weird stuff happened, but my favorite is what Doc just mentioned. Here recently, drone footage was captured, and this is a little difficult to just ignore. And we've discussed how stuff like this has cropped up in the past, and this one really kind of grabs your attention and hangs on to it. So I'm going to bring this up, let this footage run. It's not going to have any audio to it, and it's not very long. But watch toward the center of the screen. You're going to see something in the water. Right there. See it coming up toward the surface?
Oh yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. And there were people saying that, oh, that's just a piece of driftwood, or that's just a rock on the bottom. But the fact is, that's coming up toward the shallows there, up towards that cliff, and it's something. It looks like something surfacing. So
yeah, like it was coming up to check out those boats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and
if you look careful, you can see the right there where the mouse cursor is. You can see the flukes moving slowly, and it's propelling itself through the water.
My only issue with this footage that you're showing is just how far away we are. Just going purely off of like wanting to believe, but still have to be skeptical of things. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing was, this was captured on drone footage, but the guy didn't know the element was there until later.
Right.
He was
my thing is like
he's actually sitting in I think this kayak right here.
My thing is, like, as far away as we are, there's no telling what that could be.
Yeah. Right. He had no idea he was taping it.
It is much clearer than some of the grainy videos.
I totally agree. I totally agree. But my issue is until we have something that's like pure and cut and dry.
Right.
You gotta take everything with a bit of a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I'm not presenting this as any kind of definitive proof.
Right.
As videos go, it is one of the most compelling videos I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Since in the cryptid world.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like the blob squatch. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the
much clearer.
If you look at the still photo of it, when they've kind of enlarged it. Can you pull that one up, DA? The still photo.
I'm working on that right.
Okay.
I've got the still photo right here.
Yeah, the still photo. It's almost got. It looks like you can see a long, slender neck, and they've even got one that's even bigger than that, down on the screen. It's a long, slender neck. It shows a head. You can almost see the dorsal or the ventral fins on it, and it looks a lot like a plesiosaur. I mean, which is for what a long time. Yeah, that one. For a long time, that's what it's been speculated as being a plesiosaur down there. So, but yeah, if you can see, the long neck, the body,
and its cousin, the thank-you-asaur,
and the third cousin, you're welcome-asaur.
The manners-saurs, as they were. They never leave their elbows on the table.
Fred asks, he says, "What if it was a saltwater croc?" Well, it's in fresh water.
That'd be a little challenging.
In Scotland, there are no crocodilian species native to Scotland, and that water would be way too cold for a reptile.
Brother,
it wouldn't be in the water.
I put my hand in that water, and it is chilly. So
it wouldn't be in the water.
Yeah.
It'd be out sunning himself on the bank. That's what he'd be doing.
He's just chilling, just having a good time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like DA said, though. I mean, there's been a lot of sightings over the years for centuries. I think dating back to like 554. But the thing about this creature is there's with technology out there. Eventually, there's so many cameras. There's drones flying all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, I believe somebody's going to pick up something that's very plausible.
With how good cameras are on cell phones nowadays, and with drones and all that stuff, like we're gonna start discovering species that, up until we had this technology to capture images and whatnot, up until this point they didn't exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
From a scientific standpoint, like we have no evidence that they exist, and then photos are going to start emerging, and people are going to start proving, oh, these aren't doctored images, like. This, what is this thing? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
And I mean, like, we've already had that happen with, like, several different species of, like, spider and, like, several different species of, like fish, even. And people have been like, holy hell, what is that thing? Like, I remember seeing this footage of a snake in, like, Myanmar or Burma or something like that. And it was, like, covered in algae and whatnot, and people didn't know what it was. And it was like a super rare species of snake that like they'd only ever discovered once before.
Well, that's just like in Tampa, Florida, man. They actually caught 2 saltwater crocodiles in the mangroves up here. And the only ones that I know of are in Key West that actually come over from Cuba. Mm-hmm. But they caught 2 or 3 in Tampa in the mangroves. And I think Florida is the only state in the United States where we have alligators and crocodiles together.
Yeah.
Definitely
nasty combination.
Yeah.
Crocodiles,
John Doe
alligators,
says saltwater crocodiles are not consistent with the reported appearance and behavior of Nessie, nor would they be likely to survive in the frigid waters. And he also makes another good point on another comment. He says, more importantly, known species of crocodiles spend significant of time sunning themselves on the shore, which would be a dead giveaway. And Northwich Cryptids popped in and said, whatever the Loch Ness monster is, there would have to be a breeding population for it to be seen for as many years as it has. Yeah. And they know deep in the loch there are caves.
Let me touch base on that real quick.
Sure.
Let's speaking entirely theoretically, obviously, because we have no idea what this creature could be. We do have animals in existence already that we have proven that don't die of old age. I mean,
catfish being one.
Catfish being one. Lobsters, sharks. We have several different species of animals that don't die of old age. So,
Turtle.
I mean, you don't necessarily need something to have a breeding population. I mean, you could have something that's literally the last of its kind. And because it won't die of old age and has no natural predators anymore.
Yeah. I mean, and look at Loch Ness, like you were saying, just the caves, and they're documented caves in there, but you're talking a loch that is 22 miles long, and average depth is almost 500 feet. Deepest depth is right at 800 feet. That's a lot of area to sit there and try to cover, and think about it.
And additionally, I mean, we're basing that entirely off of the idea that it reproduces via sexual reproduction. I mean, it could reproduce asexually. It could just have its own eggs and fertilize them itself. There's no proof. There's no evidence that can show pro or con towards that. So we have no idea how this thing would reproduce. We have no idea how it lives, how it dies.
I mean, but if it's a plesiosaur, then who knows?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, how are we going to know what a dinosaur reproduced like?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Smedley Do-Right's got, I think, so far the comment of the night: the Scottish snow alligator of Loch Ness. That's almost t-shirt worthy.
I see that.
I love that.
Oh, man.
I can just see this furry alligator in a kilt.
Playing bagpipes.
How's it going to play through its nose? Just got the reed up to its nose.
Yeah, and Mark Napier just brought up something we were just talking about, how the
underwater caves,
multiple underwater caves.
They also think those caves may connect to other large bodies of water in the area, and even possibly the ocean.
Which is something that John Doe just said is connected to several other bodies of water out there. So kind of crazy.
Werewolf 5674 says dinos are reptiles, right? Not necessarily.
Not even really either.
Modern theory on dinosaurs think that instead of evolving to become lizards, they may have evolved to become avians, which would mean their body temperature was homeothermic.
Closest living relative to the T-Rex is the chicken.
Yeah, and
the closest living relative to the Velociraptor is the cassowary bird.
Yeah,
which is basically just a velociraptor with feathers.
Velociraptor.
Yeah, look at their flock behavior, everything like that. So they laid eggs. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Kind of interesting.
Well,
I mean, even to classify them as either one just feels lackluster, because we're talking about a species of animal that existed millions of years before humans did.
Millions. Sorry, here's my Dr. Evil. No, but you're right.
It took me a second to grasp what you were going at. I was like, what the hell are you on about?
Yeah.
You weirdo?
This is every week. You got to get used to it. It's every week.
Everything we're saying is juxtaposition. It's all theory, and we don't know. But the fact remains that there's been more credible footage here recently. There was a Scottish couple from Aberdeenshire in Loch Ness last. I think it was right before this British guy released the drone footage, but they were just out there filming it. They were out there visiting on a day trip, and boom, they saw some ripples in the water, something surfaced, and then it went back down.
What?
And so
everybody knows about Nessie. They've all heard about Loch Ness. But has any of you ever heard of Nessie's lesser known cousin? I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Doc, you can correct me. The Loch Oich monster, O-I-C-H.
Yeah, Loch Oich.
Loch Oik. Loch Oik is another large Scottish lake. It's connected to Loch Ness by the River Oik and also a canal. So it could possibly be the Loch Ness monster, but it's been sighted in Loch Oik. And the image of the creature that they have looks like a plesiosaur.
Huh.
So it could be the same creature since Loch Oik and Loch Ness are connected, or it could be something else entirely. But apparently Loch Ness has got more than one.
And it's ironic that I don't know if it's ironic or not, but it's coincidental that a lot of these lake creatures, are aquatic creatures, look very similar. They all look like very much like a plesiosaur. You know, Champy,
Exactly.
Nessie, the Loch Oik monster. So
Ogopogo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of different lake monsters and sea monsters that fit the same description as Nessie. I mean, there's plenty that fit the same description as a lake sturgeon, but I mean, like, as far as like Nessie and Ogopogo and you know all those similar ones, I mean, we're talking about a creature that most like what's the term I'm looking for? I guess cryptozoologists at this point see them as more closely resembling a plesiosaur than really anything else.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, like, you get into stuff like the bunyip,
the-
which is totally unrelated.
Yeah, well, you mentioned lake sturgeon, and if you're not familiar with a lot of different types of fish, if what you think of a fish is this, you know, it's got a tail, it's got fins, it's got gills. You know, if you think what first thing that pops to most people's minds when you think of the word fish, the first time you see a sturgeon, your mind's gonna be blown because it does. it looks like something straight out of a dinosaur movie, and they can get 10, 12 feet long.
They get
I
big,
saw a
man.
picture of a sturgeon the other day that had like gotten out of the water or something.
Yeah.
And a car had hit it and it embedded in the front. It was like a 14-foot sturgeon.
Yeah, those things get huge, man.
Yeah, they are massive fish.
Yeah.
So, you know, some sightings could a sturgeon could account for it, but not all of them. Especially when they talk about the long, slender neck coming up out of the water with a horse-like head, which would be very similar to the way a plesiosaur head could be described. But you know, not everything can be explained as a lake sturgeon. Of course, there are some weird fish out there. I mean, like, look for example, you know, we're using the cryptozoology example, the coelacanth. They thought that was extinct for millions of years, yet the people, I think it was off Madagascar, had been eating them for, you know, generations. Like, oh yeah, it exists. It's tasty.
Yeah, and then the you just said something about the water horse or seahorse. That was one of the legends there with the Nessie. They called it a water horse or a kelpie, and the thing was it would come out of the water and change its form into a beautiful horse, so beautiful that they a man, woman, whatever couldn't help but go try to get it and claim it as their own. And in which case it would then lock you down to their body and take you down into the depths of the loch, never to be seen or heard from again. So I don't know if that was disappearances or if that was just legend, or maybe disappearances legend based on disappearances, just some way to justify the disappearances. But it's pretty cool because out near Stirling, near the battlefield and the castle and everything, there's the kelpie statues along one of the canals, and it's absolutely beautiful. There is big huge statue of these water horses out there, and it's a sight to see. If you've never seen them before, they go like 90 feet high in the air. So
for some reason, when you mention water horses, my immediate thought is that scene in Lord of the Rings where they're riding the horses through the water and the Nazgul can't follow them.
Yeah, so that's one of the statues of the kelpies out there. So beautiful thing. But yeah, that's one of the legends of Nessie. They called it a water horse.
Northwoods Cryptid says, I've heard about divers having encounters with sturgeon that were around 15 feet long. There's also the old stories from the divers near Lake of the Ozarks that reported seeing catfish near the beneath the spillway of Lake of the Ozarks that were big enough to swallow a person whole.
Yeah, whenever they had some divers doing back in the 70s, 80s, I think, doing some repairs on Ross Barnett Reservoir up near Jackson, Mississippi, one of the dudes got to freaking bends because he ascended so fast. that they saw a catfish down there. He was down, the water's so dark and murky, and he was down there, it was light, and he turned his light around, and there's a catfish, and the head on it, he said it was bigger than a man. He said they could have swallowed.
Once caught a fish this big,
but it scared the hell out of them. So he's like, well, I'd rather face the decompression chamber than face this big bastard. So he got the hell out of Dodge.
All I'm saying
still
is
crazy. Chris is right. They've seen catfish that big near the dam on Table Rock too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is, catfish that big, you're having a really good dinner that night. You catch that mother.
Yeah,
got a catfish fillet that looks like that brontosaurus steak that Fred Flintstone had.
That's what I was just thinking about, DA.
Yeah,
exactly what I was thinking about.
A steak so big it flips the car over when he puts it on the
Gotta wrap it in like canvas or something like that and tie it to the roof of your car so that way you can get it home and cook it.
Yeah. Well, and Werewolf has a good point here. Werewolf has a really good point. You know, some fish will grow to fit the environment. If you put some fish in a small aquarium, they'll stay a certain size. You put them in a bigger aquarium, they'll grow bigger. So I have seen and heard tell of that.
Well, they got catfish in Vietnam that eat people. Come on.
Yeah.
Ellen Harrington says, when was the most recent sighting of the Loch Ness monster?
That was it. That was the one.
The latest
that drone
footage,
I think,
would be
is the
that
most
drone
recent.
sighting. Yeah.
And it was just last year.
August of last year, I believe, is when it was.
Another weird but possible explanation when people are looking at things in the water that look like something out of a dinosaur movie. Alligator gar are probably the most terrifying fish I've ever got.
Terrifying.
I caught one on a fishing line one time, and when I got it up close to the boat, I just cut the line. I'm like, I don't know, I'm not pulling that in the boat. It was 6 feet long.
Yeah, we got them over here.
They'll fight you even on land.
They're big here, man.
Some people eat gar. Some people eat gar. I wouldn't even want to drag it in the boat.
I'm not. If someone wants to prepare it for me, by all means. But I am not going out of my way to fish a gar out of the lake and then eat it.
It's
some
pretty.
Big suckers.
It's pretty good, man. It's not bad. It really is.
Big old mouthful of teeth.
Well, see, because in a lot of aspects, Anthony, you know this. They think it's trash fish.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what's the worst fish to eat out of here is the mudfish. Those mudfish that we have here, it's like a cross between a catfish and a bass. And the meat is so mushy. You can't, it's terrible.
Man,
but
I'll just do crawfish. I'm good. Crawfish and lobsters, I got this.
A gar has such white chunks of meat on it. It's ridiculous. I've eaten it. It's really good.
I would try it. I mean, I'm not a huge fish fan, but I'll try anything pretty much once. I mean,
and they get big, man.
Pig. I'm not trying that unless I'm being tricked.
I mean, they're shooting gar. They're shooting gar in Texas out of the canals, 200, 300, 400 pounds. Shooting those. Gar. If you go online and look.
That's the thing about a gar. If you catch one and haul it in the boat, you better be prepared to kill it. You don't want that big mass of muscle and teeth loose in your boat.
If you kill one of them, though, we eating good that night.
They got them that big. Yeah, they got they get them that big. They get really big. The same way you even cook any fish.
I'd reckon we could probably figure it out pretty quick.
The biggest one I've ever personally seen is years ago, back before I met my wife. Me and my brother and another guy were fishing up on the Missouri River. And I hooked something, and it started fighting like hell. And he's like, I don't know what you got, but get it up here, and we'll get it in the boat. And as soon as it broke the surface of the water, he's like, "Cut the line! Cut the line! Cut the line!"
Now you better shank that thing before it gets in the boat with you, or somebody's going to have an ass whipping.
Yeah, somebody on the boat going to be doing like a 1300s pirate cosplay, going to have a side sword on him at all times.
Yeah.
You ever seen a fat guy walk on water? Because that's what's going to happen.
Have a marlin spike or something, man. That's what a lot of folks do down home. They'll get them at the side of the boat and either shoot them with a 22. Or they'll spike them in the head. So
my biggest concern is when I fish rivers and lakes in Missouri is freaking cottonmouths. I've seen those drop into a boat with somebody. You talk about a bad day.
Yeah.
The last thing I want is a snake loose in the boat.
No.
Northwood had a good comment.
You're never gonna miss Northwood getting a comment about his eggs. He had one earlier. I forgot to put it up.
Yeah, you got to put that one up.
Northwoods, you gotta
If you can find that other comment,
better about dating, bro.
I like
if one of you guys could find that earlier comment from Northwoods, put it up.
He said if his wife was in Loch Ness, she'd be a sea monster. That's what he said. His ex.
I like Mark's analogy of a getting a alligator gar in your boat. He said it'd be like fighting a wet circle saw.
Oh God.
Yeah. That's about the fact too.
Werewolf 5674 says I got a 36-pound pike in my boat. I got up on the seat and it ate my tackle box.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pikes get big.
36-pound pike. Damn.
Yeah, and
Corey Cole's got a point. He's cottonmouths or vipers. Yeah, they're nasty snakes. I lived down in New Mexico for years when I was a kid, and we learned down there that if it didn't rattle, you're probably pretty safe. So we used to catch snakes and mess with them. When I came up to Missouri, my Uncle Owen, who passed away a few years back, him and I went fishing up near Montreal, Missouri, on Lake of the Ozarks, and I see this snake come slithering up out of the water. So I just took a stick and pinned its head down and grabbed it and picked it up. I'm like, "Hey, Uncle O, what kind of snake is this?" He goes, "It's a cottonmouth." He says, "You might want to pick those damn things up." And I haven't picked a snake up since. Yeah, that thing will kill you if it gets a chance.
And the thing I talk about the crotalids in my environmental medicine portion of my class, because environmental stuff will kill you just as fast as as bleeding out will.
Oh yeah.
And the thing about cottonmouths, rattlesnakes, cottonmouths, copperheads, they're all in a crotalid family. They're pit vipers, and rattlesnakes can be somewhat territorial. Copperheads typically aren't, but cottonmouths, I learned this from a herpetologist I had to care of after he got bitten by a rattlesnake. So I had a captive audience, but cottonmouths have very poor eyesight, and they're very territorial. So they will definitely come at you, bro.
I've had one jump in the boat.
Yeah.
Mark Napier just sent me this. These are catfish that were caught near Chernobyl.
Oh God, that's a big fish. And probably deadly. Yeah, no. If it's caught near Chernobyl, they can keep it.
Yeah, I'm not risking that one.
That's how big the catfish get in Vietnam that they were pulling up out of the water.
That's like Fukushima sushi.
Yeah.
Hey man, don't you ruin sushi for me, all right? And if anybody puts catfish in my sushi, it's hands at that point. You put some damn catfish in my sushi, and we are
Fighting.
at that point.
How'd you do that with your voice?
I don't know.
Oh, I was like, what the hell just happened?
It's hard, man.
Momentarily possessed.
I'm going across the hall with some holy water. Demons be gone!
I need a young priest and an old priest. The power of Christ compels you. So Nessie and all these other monsters. There's these big fish. Could those be in these rivers in the fresh water? Or do you think these fish are being mistaken for these monsters? Hell, if in Vietnam they're catfish that are eating dudes, I would say that's pretty monstrous, but and they're getting pretty big, like the Chernobyl, 4-eyed catfish they got there. But
I would reckon things like Nessie or
me a picture of her husband's 68-pound catfish that she
68-pound catfish. Holy crap!
Yeah,
this is big. It's bigger than the baby.
Yeah, that's big.
Good God, that's a big catfish.
I would reckon that it would be hard to confuse a sturgeon or like a catfish or something like that with Nessie. You know what I mean? Confusing a sturgeon with a plesiosaur is like, it's like confusing a bumblebee with a yellow jacket.
Yeah,
I can see how you might do it once.
When we talk about the Loch Ness plesiosaur description, that seems to be very common with some of the other lakes, like Lake Ocopogo, Lake Champlain, the one in Argentina on Lake Nahuelhuapi. They call it Nahuelito. I wrote about that in my codename Wild Hunt Operation Blood Eagle.
There's others in Scotland for that matter. In Loch Morar, there's Morag, which is a play on both the name of the lake as well as the female Scottish name Morag. There's not just one Loch Ness monster in Scotland. There's more than one in Scotland alone.
And Sal Passos has a really good question. Are there other Loch Ness type monsters in the U.S.?
In the U.S.,
and I think that's where Champy comes from, Lake Champlain.
Lake Champlain, Champy, the Champ.
Upstate New York.
Lake Ogopogo has one that's described very similar. There's Winnipogo, which is one of the lakes in Winnipeg. Manipogo, which is in Manitoba. The Thetis Lake Monster.
There's Pressy in Lake Superior.
Tahoe Tessie, it's in Lake Tahoe. There's a lot of these that are very described in very similar terms, using like the basis of the plesiosaur.
Right.
So I think we may have relic populations of these things that have survived.
And then there's also like Charlie in Idaho. I mean, there's a bunch of Loch Ness monster types spotted all over the world. I mean, there's sightings in Japan. I mean, like we got sightings all over the globe.
Well, not to mention the ones that are seen at sea.
Yeah.
John Doe brought up one earlier, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was the Loch Ness. It's not Loch Ness. It was the sea monster that attacked a German U-boat, and they wound up scuttling the U-boat over the damage that it did. That one was pretty well documented. And if any of you guys are on our Discord server, John Doe posted a lot of pictures and links there. But they're not just seen in the ocean; they're seen in rivers. There's one in the Hudson River in New York that's been seen. They're seen in the ocean quite frequently. These waterborne cryptids are not just rare occasions that people once in a while report. They're seen all over the world, and they're seen a lot. Not just one guy that saw it back in 1932 when somebody wrote a weird article about it. They're seen all the time.
And DA, guess where it was UB-85 German U-boat. Guess where it was sunk?
Where?
Off the coast of Scotland. Ironic, no?
Nessie entered the war.
Yeah.
Nessie likes them as little as we do.
Yeah. Nessie was like, "Not today, Jerry. Not today."
It's like,
you may take our land, but you'll never take our freedom.
Everyone's talking about how like the invasion of Berlin happened and whatnot. Everybody doesn't know about the time the Scots airdropped Nessie.
Yeah, exactly.
Dropping in Bigfoot creatures behind enemy lines.
Oh god, that sounds like what Stalin was working on with the whole like ape
Humanzee project, where they tried to crossbreed humans and chimps, and then humans and gorillas.
Yeah.
They said they found
Morro Bay, California has a critter like Ness in it. They're everywhere. A lot of times, the big freshwater lakes have these stories. Some of these accounts can be attributed to something like a sturgeon
or driftwood
or a spoonbill. Spoonbill get big. Spoonbill are protected in Missouri. They're highly prized, and there's only a limited amount of time you're allowed to catch them. But they can get pretty big. Of course, you've got sturgeon, which those are protected as well. But some of those fish can get really big, which could account for a lot of these sightings. But I don't think it accounts for all of them. What do you guys think?
I would agree. I think that I think that dismissing any of them based off of it could be this is just kind of a poor decision. I think there's plenty of reason to say, we could just be missing a distinction here. This could be this, but comparing, like I said, comparing the Loch Ness monster to a gar, comparing it to a sturgeon, it doesn't feel right, because you're comparing two things that, sure, they're both aquatic, but like that's where the similarities end.
Yeah.
Well, even if you look at that drone footage we just showed a little bit ago, that does not look like a sturgeon or a gar.
Yeah.
I mean, not in any way, shape, or form. But gar and sturgeon are long and slender.
Even in Lake Placid, Placid, New York, that one movie, what was it, with Betty White, had the crocodile?
Lake Placid,
Placid.
That's supposed to be, if you look that up, that's supposed to be a true story.
Really?
But but that supposedly, I
was a good
remember reading about it.
Oh yeah,
so
really
if you see that up in New York and upstate, come on, anything is. I mean, a crocodile. Come on.
Well, it's
Werewolf
just like
5674 says in Kenya there's a lake where something eats locals.
Yeah.
I think that is the Mekele Mumbembe,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly.
That
And the
sounds
Mekele
right.
Mumbembe is seen throughout the Congo Basin. And it's supposedly, from descriptions, it looks more like a brontosaurus. It actually
right.
walks. It walks through the water much like a hippopotamus does.
They got footprints of it too.
And lots of accounts of it attacking people. But the thing is something people have to bear in mind in that area. They also have hippopotamuses, which are notorious for attacking boats.
They're more aggressive than anything else.
And more people are killed in Africa by hippos than by lions.
Yeah,
you got to keep in mind, like the intercontinental game of telephone we're playing at that point.
True.
I mean, like, sure, there could be
I
some
saw this,
brontosaurus
and by
like
the
creature.
time it gets to 12 people down the line,
Right? Yeah.
You know, it resembles nothing that was originally described.
Right. Yeah.
Corey
exactly.
Cole brought up a good point. He said, "What about the winged gremlins? Our World War II bomber pilots talked about seeing over the Pacific." You know, that's a good point, and that's probably going to be a separate show. I think the reason why we stopped seeing those is because they're not fast enough to keep up with jets. I think things like that are probably still out there, because I would never just go, "Oh, they were high or they were drunk." They were bomber pilots and fighter pilots coming back from mission.
Or oxygen deprivation
Imagine just
too.
they're
like
B-29 and your gunners in the back just smoking a joint. Like,
It's like,
oh hey, do you guys see that thing out there? What's going on with that?
we just bombed the city, man.
It's like that. What was that? The Twilight movie when the guy's sitting in the plane and looks out the window and sees the gremlin
Twilight
ripping
Zone?
apart. Yeah, ripping apart the wing. Yeah,
Oh
that
man,
was
he's just hypoxic. The cabin altitude was just screwed up. He was just hypoxic.
That's what I was gonna say. Up there with the bombers. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
Put
hypoxic.
on your oxygen mask.
John Doe says hippos decided violence wasn't the answer. Violence was the question, and the answer was yes.
Wolfric Ridley corrected me. You're absolutely correct. I apologize. It's Lake Okanagan where Ogopogo is from. That's right. I forgot about that. I forgot. Those have such odd names to the lakes. It's Lake Okanagan. I did watch a documentary about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's like John Doe says, you know, pretty much every lake has its own variety, but they've all been based relatively on the same type of description, much like the landborne cryptids like Bigfoot. You know, so who's to say they're not regional, just like we have our sightings of Bigfoot in every area.
But
I mean, every animal has like a niche habitat that it has to stay in. So I mean, like, who's to say that, you know, these specific freshwater lakes aren't meeting the exact criteria needed for these things,
especially the deep ones where the water is always cold. Lake Nahuahuapi is very similar in its climate and its temperatures to Loch Ness, because if you look at them on their longitudinal lines, they are pretty much the same distance as from the equator as the other. They're pretty much just distant cousins from one another. Lake Nahuahuapi was formed by glaciers. In spots, it's over 1,200 feet deep, and it's known to have caverns in it. That's a big lake. Hey, we lost Doc and Anthony. Was it something I said, boys?
That's my thing though. It's like I would be willing to say that, I mean, not every freshwater lake is going to meet these criteria, you know.
True. I mean, I don't think Lake of the Ozarks would.
Right, yeah.
But it does meet criteria for big catfish.
Oh yeah.
Which have been documented.
You know, we're talking about like an animal we know nothing about, a species of creature that we know practically nothing about. All we have are speculation and possible sightings. So I mean, we're talking an animal that we have literally no scientific evidence that exists, and we're talking about how they might travel or how they survive. And it's like I was saying earlier, we have no idea how they reproduce. We have no idea what they eat. We have no idea how they're living. All we know is that these freshwater lakes, these freshwater rivers, all that stuff is an ideal habitat for them. And it's
right.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that
like
being
I was
said,
saying with Nahiawapi and Loch Ness, they're both very cold lakes. They're both very deep. They both have caverns beneath them. And if you look at longitude latitude wise, they're very similar distances from the equator, which makes them both almost ideal habitats for the same kind of creature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they have they can, all they have to do if it's anything else down there, or if there's no food source down there, all they got to do is come up where it's a little bit warmer. They got plenty of food, and then they can go back down. So they can
go up where there's a little bit more sun. They can pick off a few straggler fish and then dip their way right back down.
Absolutely.
I am not trying to pronounce this name because I know I'm going to say it wrong. Just Zune, I guess. I apologize. I know I pronounced it wrong, but they say Mekong giant catfish have been known to eat small kids. They talk about that, in several of the documentaries. The guy that did the show River Monsters, was talking about the Mekong catfish eating people. And then you've got along the rivers in Africa, it's not just the fish, it's the Nile crocs. They have no idea how many people every year are eaten by Nile crocodiles.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine going down to get your water for the day and and running the danger of getting yanked into the water by this giant crocodile the size of a small car?
Gone.
It's like getting hit by a 68 Ford Thunderbird. Bam!
Yeah.
It's like walking out into the highway and just being like, all right, well, maybe we'll cross. Maybe it's not my problem anymore.
And the problem is we're not just dealing with unknown water monsters. There's plenty of known water monsters.
Oh God, yeah.
Looking at the depths of the ocean, there, I want to say it was in the early 2000s. There was a number of people, like 50, 60 people, on a cruise ship in the Caribbean that described a creature that was swimming next to the cruise ship that they described as being like an 80-foot long mosasaur. From the descriptions that were given, it was basically a mosasaur, which is terrifying to think one of those might still exist. But look at the extreme depths. We know less about the bottom of the ocean than we do about the surface of the moon. There's evidence that suggests megalodon might still exist out there, and that's a terrifying thought. A shark the size with no known actual predators other than maybe the blue whale. The
blue whale's not predatory either.
Yeah,
the blue whale eats plankton.
That blue whale that they actually documented had a bite radius on the back dorsal of the area that was anything bigger than what's in the ocean. I was watching it on Discovery. The bite radius was just massive. I mean, bigger than any great white recorded. And they found a tooth in it, and the tooth was like that big.
Wow.
Yeah, that's way bigger than your average great white.
Oh yeah.
Right, but they also had that other great white. They put that tracking beacon on it off the coast of Cortez. And it swam so far down and it disappeared. The beacon disappeared, but the beacon showed back up off the coast of California somewhere, almost by Portland.
Yeah, they said it for just some reason it accelerated and dove to extreme depth like it was running from something.
Right, and then it disappeared, and that was it, and then the signal was lost. But I mean, you have pictures in World War II that was a German U-boat. Yeah, has that dorsal fin next to it. That was that thing been right next to that U-boat. I mean,
Eli Harrison brings up a very good point, and Noah's going to love the fact that I'm bringing this up because him and I have had discussed this. But he's talking about the bloop.
Oh yeah,
he's talking about that weird sound that they've been recording underneath from the ocean.
God.
They
don't know what it is. They know it's organic. It's been picked up on multiple SOSA sensors. And it has to be huge.
Yeah,
but they don't know what it is.
Absolutely massive.
Yeah, like orders of magnitude larger than anything they've ever recorded before.
I was about to say dwarfs a blue whale size.
Yeah, they don't know what it is. Some people postulate that it might be glaciers calving, but the problem is it repeats the same noise, almost like a whale song. Yeah, it's really
like
weird.
A call.
The The Navy recorded it.
Navy picked it up. They've been picking it up, I think since the mid '90s. But it's referred to as the bloop, and it is just really weird. It's one of those ultra low frequencies. If you listen to it, the videos you can find on YouTube, it makes that kind of bloop sound. But the thing about it is that is so sped up. That sound took place over minutes, not seconds. You know, it was like very low frequency, like a whale.
I mean, like we've got all sorts of different sounds from the Marianas Trench that like we have no explanation of what they are. I mean, there was that like submarine or whatever it was that went down there, that unmanned craft that went down there and just recorded sounds, and none of which we have any real explanation for what they are. You know, everyone tries to rationalize what they are. Oh well, it was the sounds of the submarine that it was making. It was the sounds of, you know, this fish, that fish. And it's like we're talking about a depth lower than the entire height of Mount Fuji, of Mount Kilimanjaro, of every mountain known to man.
Look at the giant squid.
Yeah, we're talking about a depth way lower than that.
Well, there was also that footage that was recorded by that unmanned drone that they sent to the bottom of the Marianas, and they had light lit up so the camera could see, and this shark emerged out of the darkness and swam past it. They estimated that shark had to be between 80 and 100 feet long.
Yeah,
we're talking the deepest, darkest part of the ocean. And one thing that comes to mind talking about the Marianas Trench, and I'm sure it would get brought up by somebody at some point, so I want to just clear the air and make sure that nobody brings this up because it's a load of horse crap. But the movie The Meg, right?
Oh, please.
Well, that was intended to be that was a horror novel.
Right. But it talks about how
to be historically accurate.
It talks about how the megalodons were like hiding at the bottom of the Marianas Trench and then suddenly emerged when humans started involving themselves with the Marianas Trench.
There was an explanation for that about how they broke the thermal climb.
Right.
And 2 of them got through. And we know that happens. There are certain animals that exist below the thermal climbs that they don't climb above the thermal climb because they can't take the variation in temperatures. But they were talking about something in the Meg that disturbed the thermal climb enough for the 2 of them could slip through.
And like it's talking about how like the bottom of the Marianas Trench is like not actually the bottom. Like what we perceive as the bottom is like clouded, and it's like, if we go any further down than the Marianas Trench, we're talking about a place on the planet that is getting closer and closer to the core, where it's not going to be cold anymore. It's going to start warming up.
Right.
And so for any sort of animal to pass from below the Marianas Trench to above the Marianas Trench, it's going to have to pass through bitter cold water. And sure, there could be something below. There could be something below that. But we would never see it short of going down there ourselves.
Right.
Because it's not going to make its way up.
Well, again, we know less about the bottom of our own ocean than we do about the surface of even Mars.
Yeah.
The thing about the oceans, what people don't realize is, especially when we're dealing with like the big oceans, like the Pacific and the Atlantic, there are shipping lanes that ships stick to. And if you deviate outside those shipping lanes, you may never be found because they just don't travel those lanes. There are entire sections of ocean that just don't see human traffic.
And I mean,
Smedley Do-Right had a good point. He says, I read the story of a very large black shark spotted in the Sea of Cortez a long time ago. Theory was that it could be a close relative of megalodon. Yeah, I believe they called it the black demon.
The black demon.
The black demon, and it was estimated to be close to 40 feet long, and it's still seen. There are people that still see it occasionally.
Yeah, Werewolf said it best. Things that live that deep can't come up.
Right.
There's no reason to like be afraid of something that might be at the bottom of the Marianas Trench, short of us going down there and meeting it. But at that point, I feel like it's probably going to be more confused and interested to see what the hell we are than trying to eat us. You know what I mean?
Well, the explanation they used in the Meg about them breaking the thermal climb, It does make a certain amount of logical sense, but what people aren't taking into consideration is the differences in pressures. If these creatures adapted to life at those extreme pressures, coming up to shallower depths would mess them up. It would probably kill them.
And that's why we can't take submarines down there, is because it's far past the crush depth of any submarine we have.
Not necessarily true. Saturation divers have gone deep. The guys that live in those saturated environments will go to the bottom of the ocean to weld on the legs of like platforms, like oil platforms. Those guys can live for weeks at a time down here at saturated depths, and that's way deeper than any normal diver could ever go.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, we're talking about closing in closer and closer to the very bottom of the ocean. We're talking about literal millions and billions of gallons of water even that are just on top of you, the full weight of the ocean sitting on top of you. I mean, like, we don't have any sort of submarine that I reckon would be able to withstand being down there, much less a person being able to get out and collect any sort of sample. Like, it'd be effectively like leaving your spacecraft and trying to collect, a sample of some sort of residue off of the side of your space shuttle.
Yeah.
In the middle of flight, like.
Well, it is theoretically possible. It just, we don't have the technology to do a quote unquote spacewalk at that kind of depth.
Right. Yeah.
It takes extremely thick hulled submarines to get that deep, which is exactly why we don't know that much about it.
And I mean, we're getting pretty stuck on the Marianas Trench. But I mean, we're talking about a place that, like, sea monsters definitely could be what we could call them, because we have no idea what's down there. We have no idea what these things are. We have no idea how they interact with each other. It's the same concept as Nessie. We have no idea what these things are. We have no idea how they feed, how they reproduce, any of that stuff. Right. So, I mean, who's to say that we've discovered things at the bottom of our own lakes? Like,
sure.
If we have an entire untapped part of the ocean where we have zero idea what any of this stuff is, we are still missing stuff on the surface.
Folks, we're at the top of the first hour. I would like to take a moment to remind everybody, if you haven't hit that like and subscribe button for the channel, please hit like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon so you can be alerted anytime we go live. Also, if you enjoy the content, there are a number of ways you can help support the channel and help the channel continue to grow. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a little join button down at the bottom of the video that allows you to become a member of the channel. There's a couple of different levels you can do. One level gives you additional icons, but the upper level gives you access to videos that aren't posted anywhere else. Same thing with the Patreon. If you join the Patreon community, that's at patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor. Not only do you get access to exclusive video content, you'll also have access to some advanced things that are happening in the books in the DA-verse, and you'll actually have a voice in helping to shape what the future of the DA-verse holds. So we certainly appreciate you guys helping to support the channel and help it grow. Also, if you are enjoying the content and want to make a comment about it, there's the little dollar icon at the bottom of the chat window that allows you to do super chats, and we certainly appreciate those. And while we're paused, I want to take a quick moment to play a commercial. It's a short commercial, and it helps support a very good friend of mine. It's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. Guys, if you're hunting cryptids, if you're doing anything dangerous, whether that be hiking, camping, fishing, hunting, anything where you're away from basic 911, take a med kit. And I will play that commercial now.
Hey everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Dot Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books. And you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
And if you go to Dark Angel Medical and you use the discount code Cryptid25, you get 25% off your order. And you also, if you put into the comments something referencing Team Odin or Codename Wild Hunt, you can get the Codename Wild Hunt rocker on the new spear kit, which is being featured in some of the books. So I appreciate you guys, going giving showing support to Dark Angel Medical. They've been with me since the beginning of the books.
Yeah,
and,
we have.
He's the driving force that makes me want to make sure all of the treatments, anytime somebody gets an injury in the books, anything like that, Doc's my go-to guy. He helps me get all that done. And I appreciate everything that Dark Angel has done for me, not only with the helping grow the channel, but Dark Angel was the kit I carried as a cop for more than 10 years of my career. Fantastic kits, the kit for life guarantee. If you ever use that kit to save a life, they will resupply that kit for free. So again, go to darkangelmedical.com and use discount code Cryptid25 for 25% off. And while we're paused, I'd like to take a brief moment to let my son Noah here tell you about his Twitch stream. So
I'm
Noah,
taking the reins here.
Yes, go right ahead.
All right. If y'all like gaming content and people being stupid for 4 hours at a time,
well, they do come here.
Over at twitch.tv// or whatever the slash is. I have no idea what slashes are. Jorgamunder. You can see it on the screen. That's me. That's your boy. I'm Jorg A. Munder, attorney at law. I have not passed a bar exam. Don't quote me on that one.
We can't pass a bar.
Yeah, exactly. We just kind of like vibe out and just play video games, talk with chat, have a good time. We don't talk about cryptids most of the time. We don't talk about ghosts and that sort of thing, except when something weird happens in my room and I'm like, hey, hold on, wait a minute. That's not right. But yeah, we just kind of like vibe out, play video games, and just kind of chat with everybody. And we got a pretty nice community going. Everybody's very, very nice, very generous. And, we got some good people worth talking to, except for Jimmy over here being a little weirdo. But no, like for real, like we have a lot of good times. We make a lot of good laughs and just vibe out. So if you guys come over here and leave a follow and hang out and talk, be a good time. Carrie, I actually had something that I had to say to you pertaining to the whole Dark Angel Medical thing. Me and my buddies just went to the range just 2 days ago, yesterday. I don't remember. Days pass and my schedule looks like nothing. We actually took one of your trauma kits with us to the range. So we came prepared. Dad wouldn't let us go without a trauma kit. And he was like, I have exactly the one for you. And I was like, okay. So we had a very good time at the range the other day, and fortunately we didn't have to use it. Yeah, that's actually the exact one right there. Didn't have to use it, fortunately. But we had a really good time at the range. Turns out I'm allergic to cosmoline. We didn't know that until we were firing some cheap rounds. Yeah, it was a really good time. Fired off some old World War II rifles, which was really fun.
That is fun. That's a good time, man. No, I appreciate it. And DA, thank you for giving a shout out to us. And
My pleasure,
I've been pretty happy to say that now we have 136 confirmed saves. So I have replaced components for 136 kits over the last 10 years. So that's a pretty awesome honor that I have to know that I've had a part in saving that, or helping to save that many people's lives. So no, and thank you all y'all that are listening. All y'all, that's a Southern pluralism. All y'all that are listening, I appreciate the orders that have come in from y'all. We appreciate each and every one of you. And look us up. If you have any questions, just shoot us an email. We'll get you squared away. Heck
yeah. Best kits in the business.
Appreciate it. Little company with a big heart, that's for sure.
So Jimmy in my chat is from Australia, and he was talking about the bunyip, which is actually an Australian or an Aboriginal story from down there. Which actually on the list that we have pulled up, I believe it is actually on here if I can find it.
What is a bunyip?
But it lives in ponds and in lakes, right? And I remember reading up about these things years ago, like when I first started getting into like cryptozoology and whatnot. Translated in Aboriginal Australian to mean devil or evil spirit, also known as I'm going to butcher this, the Kianprati. It's a creature of Aboriginal mythology. It lives in swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds, and water holes all over Australia.
I love the word billabong. That is so cool. Australians got some of the coolest names for stuff.
Aboriginal peoples used to tell tales of creatures that stalked the waterways and ate any prey item that came close.
Sounds like freshwater crocodiles.
The creatures had developed a taste for people, mostly children. Many of the modern sightings that have come from Australian people come in a variety of descriptions: scaly, furry, big, small, skinny, beefy, and so on. Which, I mean, Australia, as far as I'm aware, doesn't have hippos. Don't quote me on that, because I don't know anything about Australia or its native.
I think hippos are only native to Africa.
Yeah, I figure, and also Colombia, but that's a totally different and unrelated story. But I mean, making the comparison to crocodiles is a little off as well, because they, I mean, oftentimes are described as like barrel-chested and like quadrupeds, not necessarily like hanging low to the ground and scurrying everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It seems like everything in Australia is trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah. However, one of the few things that isn't trying to kill you, the Goliath bird-eating tarantula, they don't attack people. God knows they probably could.
A tarantula that big can pretty much attack what
a tarantula that can eat birds. The Goliath bird-eater tarantula. That's what it's called. It just eats birds. I don't understand. Why is Australia like this, man?
Well, it's pretty much given rise to a hardy group of people that don't give up on anything. You know, if you're native to a land where literally everything's trying to kill you, that's got to be a pretty tough group of people.
Oh yeah, we've been trying to convince him to come out here to Missouri, and he actually is saying that him and his missus are planning on a trip out here.
That'd be awesome.
We were showing him the housing market the other day, and he's like, "You're telling me this house is $200,000? This house out here in Australia, this same house would cost me over $1 million."
Look at California real estate versus Missouri real estate.
Oh yeah, true. No kidding. Yeah.
I mean, you can get a house on Table Rock Lake with a couple of acres for less than what you'd pay for an apartment out in California.
Oh yeah,
real estate.
California real estate is insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
But this is not what we're here to talk about at all.
Very true.
We're not here to talk about real estate. We're here to talk about monsters.
I can sell you some swampland.
There you go.
Yeah, and speaking of monsters, y'all, the sleep monster is kicking my butt. I've got to teach class in the morning. I'm already 2 hours behind because of the time change, and we're going to lose an hour tonight, springing ahead. So
well, Doc,
I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, brother.
Later,
Carrie, you said you're hopping out?
Yeah, man, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all have a great night.
All right, brother, you be safe and enjoy your Holiday Inn Tupperware or whatever it is.
Absolutely. DA, if you need anything else, I'll reach out that conversation we had offline, and I'll let you know what was said, and we'll get it squared away.
Thank you, man. Later, brother. You be safe.
Have a good one, man.
Hey, have a safe flight home, too.
Thank you, brother. Love you much, man. Y'all have a good night.
You too, brother.
You
be
too.
Safe.
Out here.
Northwood says the bird-eating spider would be the perfect target practice for a 458 SOCOM.
Yeah, I'm breaking out the big guns. I see a spider that big.
Dude, oh my God. Loading 410 shotgun shell. We're past control of this
gauge
thing.
double-aught buck. Smedley Do-Right says clocks changed tonight. Yep, at 2 a.m. clocks jumped forward an hour.
Oh, so we're gonna miss 2 a.m. entirely and go straight to 3 a.m.
You know, I always liked that when I was on duty as a cop. That meant my 12-hour shift was 11 hours, and I still got paid for 12. But it sucked because I would always be the same rotation it was on in the fall when I would work 13 hours and get paid for 12.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's legal. I think you're supposed to get paid for 13 hours.
You didn't work for Greene County, obviously.
About that one.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to argue that point. Yeah.
So one thing that I has been scratching an itch in my head, falling back on our conversation about the U-boats and them scuttling those. Wasn't there like a naval, like a U.S. naval submarine that ran into something?
Hit a whale.
It hit a
there
whale.
was one that hit a whale a number of years ago, and then just a few months back, one of the few in-service Seawolf class attack submarines hit something off of China, and the official statement they released was that they hit a previously undetected mountain. You got a vessel that runs off hyperactive sonar.
Undetected
They're gonna
mountain?
they will have found a mountain.
They ran into a previously undetected mountain.
That was the official story.
They ran into a mountain.
That's what they claimed. But here's the weird part. Immediately upon that one, the submarine was able to limp to Guam to be repaired. So the submarine didn't sink. It hit something. You'd think a submarine traveling at speed hitting the mountain is going to take some massive damage. Whatever it hit, it was bad enough that they limped that one to Guam, and they immediately pulled every Seawolf class submarine home and gave them new equipment.
That's weird.
Yeah, they brought all of that class of submarine back to port immediately, and they were all loaded. With
Maybe they're giving them new sonar. You know, sonar that can actually detect underwater mountains.
Yeah, you know they've pretty much been detecting underwater mountains since World War II and World War I.
You know, maybe there was a glitch in their sonar. Maybe their sonar was not prepared to detect underwater mountains. You know,
Smedley Wright says, I think it was the USS Connecticut. I think you're right. I think it was the Connecticut.
Yes, that is right.
But the official Navy story was they hit a previously undiscovered mountain. Navy subs have been navigating by underwater charts for decades. In fact, if you read Tom Clancy's Hunt for Red October, they discussed that the Russians had hyper real-time sonar readings of the valleys throughout the Atlantic. They called them Red Route 1 and Red Route 2. That's a real thing. Tom Clancy was absolutely right about that. They said that the Soviets had such accurate maps that they would run these canyons at high speed because they would know exactly where to turn. And the comment made in the book was their maps were so good it was just like flying a plane through the Alps with no windows and using a stopwatch and a map. That's how accurate their maps were. Yeah. They knew down to the second when to turn, what their markers were. Whew. So if they had that since World War II, how did suddenly a mountain appear? It's not like those just pop up overnight. They're like, oh shit, a new mountain moved in. We got to change all the maps.
Real quick, falling back on the Goliath bird eater spider and using guns on them, right? Jimmy says we actually can use 14 gauge shotguns for big ass spiders and snakes.
I'm right there with them, man. Freaking 8 gauge punt gun.
We are legally allowed to shotgun those bastards out of our yard.
Yeah, well, I can see that.
Oh, man.
Northwoods Cryptids has a good point. Says there's a big difference between active and passive sonar. Yeah. But the thing is with the SOSUS networks we've had in place since World War II, we know the topography of the bottom of the ocean. There's
almost
no
everywhere.
such thing as a new mountain popping
right,
up.
Yeah, that's not something that's just going to happen. No. It's not just going to be like, oh, shit, there's a mountain, you know?
That's a cover story if I've ever heard one.
And
we don't know what they hit.
And I'm not
it's
mistaken.
Like if I crash my car and go, oh, crap, there's Wendy's.
Didn't a ship go there and run sonar where they crashed and they couldn't find it? They couldn't find the mountain?
Yeah, they
or
don't
something
know what
like that?
Hit.
Right.
Yeah, they sent naval ships into that area to look to rechart the area, and there was no mountain there. So
and all of a sudden it disappeared. Yeah,
right. It's insane to me for them to think we were dumb enough to buy a previously unknown mountain.
Well, okay.
And I know there's a big difference between active and passive sonar.
Next time I talk to Oxy, he's another streamer that I play games with every once in a while. Next time I talk to him, let me bounce that off of him because he was actually a sonar tech on a submarine.
Ask him.
So let me bounce that off of him because that's straight up firsthand knowledge. Like if he tells me, yeah, no, that's not something that could happen. then we know that that's a load of
Mark Napier
bullhide.
says they hit Godzilla.
Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Oh man. But yeah, he was a sonar tech on a sub. So I mean, like, if he tells me that's not something that could feasibly happen, then we know that they didn't hit a mountain. But if he's like, it could happen, then we'll figure it out.
That's funny. John Doe says,
about it.
honestly, the only thing a U.S. submarine hasn't run into yet is being on budget and on time.
Very true.
That's hilarious.
Very true.
Which it's actually really funny talking about submarines and sonar and whatnot. Which, bringing up Oxy again, he actually told me that whenever a submarine goes dark, like whenever they're going full dark, no sound, no nothing, they're just sitting there waiting, listening to the sonar, seeing if they're being tracked or anything like that. He said the sonar aboard our submarines is so accurate, they can tell the amount of change in what coins someone were to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He said
That's
that if someone
insane.
were to drop 50 cents on the ground, he could call out 1 quarter, 2 dimes, and a nickel.
Werewolf 5674 says during the Cold War there were a few he says coalition, but I know what he means. He means collisions.
Right.
There were a couple times that U.S. subs and Russian subs actually bumped each other.
Oh god.
That's a terrifying thought. But we have completely gotten off of the subject of water cryptids and onto submarines.
No,
We
no,
always
submarines are water cryptids. It's fine. Just see a submarine coming out of the water at high speed and diving back in. It's Nessie. That's what everyone's been seeing.
Exactly.
Emergency surfacing.
It's emergency surfacing SAS submarines.
Well, sometime back, I think it was, I want to say in the 80s or 90s, there was I believe it was an Ohio class missile submarine rammed a whale and did a lot of damage to the sub.
Yeah, Mark had a good question there, a good answer.
Mark Napier, I still think that was an underwater UFO, or what they call USOs, unidentified submerged objects.
Jimmy in my chat brought up a good point. He says it's likely they collided with a Chinese sub and neither are willing to admit operating in the area. If I'm not mistaken, that's happened before. Which, I mean, yeah, we're talking about submarines in waters they probably shouldn't be in on both sides of the coin. So, I mean, they may have very well hit another nation's submarine.
Yeah,
They've
And then they're just like, oh yeah, it's a mountain. Look at that.
they've documented German subs off the coast of California during World War II. So I mean,
well, then there was also that incident where a Russian submarine surfaced, I believe, off the coast of South Carolina, which was actually the inspiration that Tom Clancy used for the book Hunt for Red October.
right?
But that legitimately happened. That was, I want to say it was in the early 80s.
Yeah,
A Russian attack submarine surfaced within sight of the shore of South Carolina. I think it was off the Grand Banks, maybe. I think it was.
That's how scary. Nobody knew it was even there.
Yeah, dude, submarines are a terrifying prospect. Like hands down. Like if when it comes to like any sort of naval warfare, submarines have got to be among the more terrifying, because if you don't have the equipment to pick one up, or if they are intentionally trying to avoid being picked up, you have no idea that they're there.
Yeah.
And that falls right into not knowing the bottom of our ocean very well. We're utilizing the knowledge that we don't know anything about the bottom of the ocean. Therefore, I mean, imagine at some point we start using submarines that mimic the movement patterns of whales, Well,
they'll have to come up with an entire new propulsion system because
right, yeah, but like we're talking about like utilizing the knowledge that we don't know anything about the ocean, and then just surprising people and being like, "Hey, here's a bunch of torpedoes for you."
Exactly.
John Abraham says, question, haven't subs been attacked by giant squids?
Yes. They said that.
I've heard stories like that of subs being attacked by giant squid. And there was actually one account of a biological contact they believed was the same length or similar length to the submarine, which was a 688 class Los Angeles class attack submarine. And it was followed for multiple days by a biological contact that was the length of the boat, of the sub. And they ruled out the fact that it was a whale because it never surfaced for air. It was only when they got near the Marianas that it went deep and took off and left them.
That's one of those things that's like, if I was aboard a submarine, I would be absolutely terrified if we picked up some sort of biomass that was following us that maintained course for miles. And I'm absolutely sure that has happened more times than just that one time. And
sure.
It's been kept hush hush as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm honestly not surprised at the sheer amount of like red tape that there is involving like even undiscovered animals with the military. Like we'll have encounters with the military where they're like, oh hey, we don't know what this creature is, and then the military's like, hey, whoa, hey, don't talk about that. You know, it's like, why? Why not talk about that? Why don't we send in teams to figure out what the hell this thing is? Me
and your dad were talking about that last week about, you know, certain teams going in that, like even the 411 missing cases. Why would a special ops team go in to look for a kid?
Right. But there are a number of those missing 411 cases where inexplicably special operations teams came in.
That's unheard of.
Yeah, it is. You just don't. They don't task special operations teams to look for missing people unless there's a reason.
Exactly. Unless there's a threat.
Yeah,
and that's it. You know.
Northwoods is going to bed. Good night, buddy. Thanks for joining us, man.
Have a good night, man.
Good night.
You have a great night, and we'll catch you in the next one.
I may not, but we'll see.
Well, you know you're welcome to join anytime, bud.
I'm around once every few months. Speaking of, we need to do another Bigfoot stream one of these days.
Yes, we do.
That was a whole lot of fun.
That was fun. Werewolf 5674. Oh, no, I missed the wrong one. It was from Mark Napier. Question, how did they classify it a biological entity? By the sounds it makes and the returns they get from sonar. That's how they can determine
your sonar will bounce off of your sonar will bounce off of metal a lot better than it'll bounce off of flesh. So if you ping something biological on sonar, it's going to return a way different sound than if you were to ping a whale, you know? Or so like metal, like a submarine would be like, oh, okay, this is clearly something large, something man-made, and it might be a threat. We need to go dark. Whereas your sonar pings, oh, this thing's large and it's heading up for oxygen. This is clearly a whale, you know? It's not necessarily that we're picking up specific biomass. It's not that we're picking up, you know, oh, hey, I can tell by the sound this makes that this is a whale, you know? It's more of a, okay, there's something following us and it's not made of metal. So we'll have to use deductive reasoning to figure out what it could be.
No discussion of underwater monsters would be complete without discussing, and we don't know if this story is true or not, but the story about the Russian scientist who bored a hole into that lake underneath Antarctica, where they were allegedly attacked, and several members of their exploration party were attacked and killed by this octopus-like creature that had 10 plus arms. You guys familiar with that story?
I heard it vaguely, but that's not too much.
I think they called it the Lake Vostok monster. I think it was. Let me see if I can Google it. It's a really good story. I'm trying to remember all the details.
Somebody just commented on the name.
Okay, so beast allegedly captured by a Russian scientific team near the research post Vostok Station. Organism 46B is an enormous 33-foot long, 14-tentacled squid-like creature.
Right. That's the one. And allegedly, it can paralyze people in the water, and actually either change forms itself or project that it has changed forms. Because allegedly they were able they saw what they thought was another diver approaching them, and they thought it was a member of their team until it got close and was actually revealed itself and killed at least one member of the team.
However, it does the Wikipedia article for it does say this was made up by the fiction author C. Michael Forsyth.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, but still, it's a really interesting story.
Elements of this report suggest that it may have been something of a hoax. For example, ice core drilling typically produces a passage only a few inches in diameter, certainly not large enough to transport a person through 2 miles of ice, never mind a tank capable of containing a 33-foot-long aquatic creature. However, it is certainly possible that the team was doing more than drilling core samples. Another point to note is that Dr. Padelka has so far proven impossible to locate, although this may be due to him being in hiding. The account is only known from a handful of vague sources.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if they're accurate. There are stories that it was made up, but the story does seem to persist, which is interesting. That it keeps, even though people claim that it's been fully debunked, the story just keeps cropping back up. And knowing some of the weird experiments that have been done in Antarctica, it would not surprise me that the Russians did something like this.
Sorry about that. I was talking to my chat because they wanted the link to your show as well.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome.
So I just popped that down into your chat, or into my chat rather.
Appreciate that, bud. Thank you for the shout out.
Yeah, I got you.
But organism 46B is one of those things that is just really kind of freaks me out. It's just fantastical enough to think it's science fiction that somebody wrote it. But at the same time, it's just realistic enough to wonder if it could have happened.
Right, yeah. And I mean, like, we know absolutely nothing about what could be under the ice in Antarctica.
Right.
And, I mean, on one hand, the only way we're really going to figure that out is by drilling. But at the same time, I don't want to find something that's been in cryo sleep and that we're going to thaw it out and release some world-level Avengers kind of event, you know?
Yeah, but the worst things we can do is wake up certain strands of bacteria that we have no defense for.
Yeah.
That's actually more terrifying than anything else. There was a story that there was a guy who was on a dig in Alaska, and they were finding creatures in the permafrost. And he started out with this spot on his leg, and he just thought it was a mosquito bite or something. He ignored it, but within like 12 hours, it started getting really dark, really red, like it was infected. So he went to the medic, and the medic on the team said, "I don't know what the hell that is. We've got to get you to a hospital." So they get this guy to the hospital, and it was some sort of flesh-eating bacteria that had not been seen since the Stone Age or before.
Oh yeah.
They were able to treat it and save the guy, but this guy actually contracted a flesh-eating bacteria that no one had ever seen before. That dates back to the Permian, basically before the permafrost. John Doe says stories stick around despite being completely false all the time. That is true, but the thing is some of those stories are just compelling enough that it's entirely possible that them being completely debunked, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes here, them being completely debunked might just be a cover story, and that's what we run into when we're dealing with cryptids and any of these strange monster stories, even folklore. We run into the fact that some of them are being covered up. We don't know which ones we can say with any sense of realism or any sense of factual confirmation that they're wrong. We can't ever just rule these out, and that's the really compelling part.
And to follow up, to get into more of a supernatural, paranormal kind of like way of talking, I mean, we can always move on to the idea of the tulpa, which any of you guys who have watched Supernatural know that it was based off of like some symbol or something like that, which is entirely false. They took way amount of liberties with that. The tulpa is basically the belief that if enough people start to believe in something, it becomes real.
Well, it's kind of like the Slender Man story. That was made up for the internet. It was a creepypasta. But
and then
now
sightings started happening.
People have been seeing Slender Man all over the world. Eddie Rodriguez gave us our first super chat for the night. Eddie, thank you so much. He said, just imagine the first ever encounter with a giant anaconda. Must have been terrifying. Hell, encounters with anacondas now are terrifying. They are confirmed man-eaters when they get big enough. A 30-foot anaconda can easily eat a full-size adult. Maybe a skinny one. I'm probably safe. But a 30-foot anaconda is capable of killing a full-grown human. I mean, there are cases documented here in the States of people that have owned pythons that have eaten their children.
Oh, well, the gators out in the Everglades, they found gators inside their stomachs. I mean, come on.
And also, you've got that population that exploded into the Everglades of pythons, some that were released and some were released by that hurricane. And they're interbreeding and basically creating super
snakes down in South Florida.
And those snakes have no natural predators except for maybe larger snakes or large alligators.
Yeah, I think the Florida record right now is held in I want to say Hialeah, down in Hialeah, Miami. I think it was like 22 feet, 23 feet long. I might be wrong.
And in there, don't they like pay people to hunt down these
spots?
In the
they're bounties on them.
I mean, you have to get a trapper's permit and everything like that, but you can hunt them all year round.
Derek Buckles brings up a good point. He says, haven't they said that squids, octopi are possibly extraterrestrial? There are theories that one of the moons of Jupiter could have that type of life under its ice. They've discussed that because cephalopods like squids and octopus and cuttlefish, their DNA is like nothing else on the planet.
Doesn't match anything else on the planet even remotely.
Yeah, the thing is most animals have certain characteristics. Their DNA has certain similarities across the board, except these creatures.
Except for cephalopods.
They're different than anything else. So there is a theory that they may have come to Earth from another planet.
Following up on that, I mean, one, I do believe we touched base on it very briefly the last time I was on here. Two, I've done a lot of research since then, and there's multiple different theories. My personal favorite on it is so comets have ended up just absolutely just blasting into the Earth throughout history. There's been a number of times where a comet has slammed into the Earth. So I mean that there's no real way of writing off that something in this ice ball, this interstellar ice ball, couldn't have still been alive, just frozen in cryosleep. It hits the planet and manages to escape, So the cephalopods, that could be one way that they ended up on Earth, because like if they don't match anything on Earth, there's a good chance they're either extraterrestrial or, for lack of a better way of saying it, super terrestrial, and in melting ice somewhere, they emerged,
John Doe says if cephalopods came from somewhere else, they definitely came to this planet a long time ago.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah, they've been here for a long time. There's actually reported cases of Pacific octopus attacking divers. And one of the water cryptids we hadn't got to yet, one they call the Lusca, which has been claimed to be responsible for the death of dozens of people in some of these blue holes that appear on islands.
Right.
They believe that the only kind of creature that could go through all these cracks of these interconnected pools would be some kind of cephalopod. And that's the only thing that really explains how people disappear, and then when they go look for them, they can never find any trace of what dragged them down.
Well, you also got to keep in mind just how intelligent cephalopods are. They are some of the most intelligent animals on the planet. I mean, dolphins, even dolphins are smarter than we are, but we're talking about an animal that has no vertebrae, right? Cephalopods have no vertebrae except for maybe cuttlefish. I don't know much about
The only hard part of an octopus or a squid is the beak.
Right, yeah. And any opening that they can fit their beak through, they can get through.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're talking about an animal that has practically no rigidity to its body, as well as these things are escape artists. Like, we've had multiple different accounts of people who've had a squid or an octopus in their home, and it's managed to find a way to get itself out of the aquarium, get itself out of the container, up to and including a point where there was an octopus in like a jar, right? And it took its suction cups on its hand and pressed up against the twist cap on the jar and opened the jar from the inside and let itself out.
Mine used to come out the lid. I had a saltwater tank in South Florida, and it would open up the top lid. But I'd have to put a brick on it.
Yeah.
Vastly intelligent, kind of dumb, strong animals that who knows where they came from, because they don't resemble anything else on the planet.
Yeah,
they have
like no other animal.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Now, there was one that was in captivity at an aquarium that didn't like the fluorescent light above its enclosure, and it would climb out and squirt water onto the light to short it out.
I heard about that.
And then there was another story of one that would climb out of its enclosure and use the bars and things hanging from the ceiling to go over to another tank, eat fish, and then go back to its own. They kept noticing all that fish, these exotic fish in this one enclosure, kept turning up missing, and they couldn't find them. So they stuck a camera in there, and sure enough, this freaking octopus climbed out and used like the bars on the what is the word I'm looking for? Fire suppression systems that hung at the ceiling to climb from bar to bar over to the other.
They're
tank.
Mischievous little turds. Like,
you got to be careful.
Smart.
You got to be careful when you put one in a tank. Because let me tell you, man, you get some expensive fish in there, it'll eat every one of them.
Oh yeah. And John Doe in your chat says, which means that there is a potential for psychopathic giant squid. I mean,
that's terrifying.
I don't know if I would necessarily say that they could become psychopathic, but like, just talking about just how mischievous they are. Like, they intentionally do stuff because they know they're not supposed to,
or they just want to see what'll happen if they do it.
Yeah, or they like in the case of the one that was moving itself over to the other enclosure and eating the fish out of it and moving itself back. It's a challenge to it at that point. It just wants to see if it can do it.
No, like Mark Navarre said, they solve problems. That's what they do, like you said.
Everything's a challenge to it, effectively.
Well, I mean, look at the giant squid that the Japanese, those fishermen pulled up.
Yeah.
I think the thing was like, 46 feet long?
Yeah, some of its tendrils were over 30 feet long.
It was huge.
That's a big squid. That's a lot of calamari right there.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Yeah, it was big.
Yeah, that's actually really terrifying.
And the one
what makes terrifying? Sorry.
Which we're talking about, how smart these things are. It makes that Russian story of that creature under the ice to really not feel that far fetched.
Right. Yeah. Topping that off, I mean, the story of the Kraken. I mean,
well, that's what they thought it was. Yeah. That's what they proved.
You want to talk about something absolutely terrifying? We're talking an octopus bigger than a blue whale. Like we're talking an octopus that was frequently taking down ships just because it could.
Well, look at the suction cups at the
you break open the wooden shell and all of those tasty bits are inside.
Those scars, they would find scars on blue whales that were massive. I mean, they were like huge on the side of blue whales. Says,
imagine a Bigfoot crossed with a squid, scary underwater encounter. That sounds like a Sci-Fi Channel movie, Sasquatchopus.
Yeah.
Sasquatchopus. Jesus.
Like space sharks, please.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's like Sharknado all over again.
There we go. That's a pretty terrifying thought. Well, I love the fact that we've talked about so many of these different monsters. there are just so many of them that we haven't even touched on.
Squid foot.
Squid foot.
I seen that. I can't.
Squash squid.
I seen that squash squid.
That's hilarious.
I don't think you could say squash squid 4 times fast. I think
no, probably not.
That's straight up tongue twister level. Let's not name an animal that.
Squid foot. That's the best.
Squid foot. That just sounds like you just like stepped into the mouth of a squid and you're like, ah, shit. Sounds like a medical condition.
Oh, Raggy. Squid squatch sounds like it's from Canada. That's hilarious. Anthony, something I did want to ask you: how prevalent are those big snakes down in Florida? Are they as bad as they say?
Yeah, man. Yeah, after Hurricane Andrew, the population just boomed.
I heard that some of the people that live down there say that when you go out in the swamps now, you're hard pressed to find like a raccoon or.
Yeah, they're pretty. Like they've made their way so far up to. So far right now, I believe it's West Palm Beach, in certain areas.
Wow.
Even the iguana population, it went crazy down in South Florida. I mean, that's where I was. That's where we moved to when I moved out of upstate New York, was South Florida. And at that time, I went through Hurricane Andrew, and about a couple of years after that, I mean, there was iguanas everywhere, just like there is now.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man. Some of these snakes they're catching 12, 14, 15-foot snakes.
I think the biggest one that I remember reading about was by one of those cryptid hunter guys down there, and I can't remember his name. But he caught, it was a 17 or 18 foot long snake. That's a big snake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the one guy that was on the show, I guess he had his own show, was from Mayaca. And he held the record for the biggest python caught. But like you said, they're interbreeding with other breeds of snakes, other pythons, where they're getting massive. And like, there's no raccoons, no possums. They're noticing certain deer's population in an area is, non-existent.
A snake big enough to eat a deer is a terrifying snake.
Well, yeah, even pigs, man. Even pigs. I mean, right now, you can go down to South Florida and hunt these things and hunt iguanas, and don't have
There's something
crazy.
that feels so morally wrong about hunting iguanas.
Bro, go on.
That eat iguanas. They're supposed to be good.
They're delicious. I've had iguana.
I have too.
It's really good, but morally, it just feels wrong to just declare open season on the mothers.
They call them tree chickens. Let me tell you something.
Oh man,
these things are so big. Okay. They have YouTube channels. These guys are hitting these things with 22 pellet rifles that are shooting the velocity of 1,400 feet per second, and they're still not killing them.
Oh, geez.
Okay.
That's a big reptile.
Yeah. These things get big.
I mean we're talking about large reptiles. I mean, you want to talk about gators and whatnot. There's been sightings of gators in excess of like 20 feet, 25-foot gators. Like, at what point do we have to stop considering it an alligator or a crocodile and start considering it like a sarco? Like prehistoric,
there was
massive
footage captured from a drone near. Trying to think of the name in Texas, of the city in Texas, Beaumont, near Beaumont, Texas. They estimated the length of the alligator to be in excess of 20 feet.
The one with the deer in its mouth?
Yeah. And just the head and the ass were sticking out of its mouth. The rest of the deer was in its mouth.
Well, look at
that. Is a huge alligator.
The biggest crocodile that they know of is in Africa. Its name is Gustav. Okay?
Gustav, our boy.
And they have video and pictures of this thing. It won't get close enough, but they have pictures of this thing where they estimate it to be at least 40 feet long.
Yeah, they made a movie about Gustav.
Yeah.
I think it was called Primeval.
Yeah. Yeah, Primal
That's a
Fear, I
good
think,
movie.
or something like
big
that.
ass
Yeah.
gator.
This thing is documented to be huge.
That's not a gator at that point. That's just a sarco. We're talking about like Cretaceous, Jurassic, whatever period, massive gator-like relative, but not gator. There's no way you can tell me that's a fucking gator.
I'll even tell you. I'll even tell you
Jimmy O.
something better. There's in Leon in Africa. Okay, they would, during the Civil War that they were having, they would get so that they would throw the dead bodies off the bridge into the canals, that these crocodiles got so used to eating human meat that their population exploded. Number one, and number two, the attacks that were going on was unreal. I mean, it's sick if you went down there and seen these size of these crocodiles that were hanging out in the canals down there. When they were having their war, they would just throw the dead bodies right over, and these things were feasting on the dead bodies. So
Jimmy G says the biggest they know of because they're too scared to come to Australia. Yeah, the saltwater crocs down there get huge. Astro Blaster had a question. He says, "Who to transport? Where'd you get the Bigfoot emoji?" You get that by becoming a member of the channel. John Doe says, "I feel that people should be made aware of the fact that giant alligators, crocodiles are known to have existed far after the dinosaurs went extinct." Yeah, there have been Nile crocodiles that they've captured, that they've killed, that were close to 30 feet long.
Oh, look at the one in the Philippines.
Big alligator, big croc. I mean,
look at that one in the Philippines they caught.
Yeah.
Jimmy just says in my chat, "Hey guys, don't go to war with the iguanas. We went to war with the emus and we lost."
The Great Australian Emu War.
There was like 3 casualties, and all of them were Australians.
Yeah, emus. Australia. Yeah, they're nasty, man.
Oh man,
We
gotta love the emu war.
We have one. We have an emu farm up here. They're nasty, nasty.
That's a mean little
They are
animal.
nasty bird.
But you know, even as bad as they are, think about the cassowary bird. It's
God.
essentially a modern day velociraptor.
Yeah.
It's got that big hooked claw on its foot. It'll disembowel a person. I mean, that's the only animal I ever saw the crocodile hunter run from.
What is that one with the big?
One of his videos, and they were going through the bush, and he like stopped and looked at the camera crew and said, "There's a cassowary bird. Get the hell out of here."
What's the one with the big giant beak? That big beak. Is that it?
No. That's the. Are you talking the one that like looks like it's like about to catch a murder charge?
Yeah.
Isn't it the spoonbill?
Yeah, I think it's the spoonbill. I think is what it's called.
They say that's nasty too. That thing will attack you.
That's an evil bird.
Well, if they're apparently like super mild mannered, but like if you threaten them, they'll attack you, and at that point, like you're toast. But Jimmy was telling me just the other day that kangaroos actually have massive talons on their back legs as well.
Really?
So whenever they attack people, they can actually stand on their tail, and they'll gouge you with those claws and just completely eviscerate you.
I love that one video from Australia where that kangaroo's got a hold of that dude's dog, and he goes out there and jacks that kangaroo in the face.
Oh my god! The kangaroo just looks at him like, "What the hell?
What did you just do to me?
Why?" Just like the stones on this guy.
Oh, John Doe says it's a shoe bill. That's right. It's called the shoe bill, and it'll click its beak.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the Predator from the movie Predator. It's creepy as hell.
I was watching it. The guys wouldn't get in the enclosure with it to feed it because the thing was attacking them. I was
the shoe bill. Right.
Yeah, the shoe bill. Derek Buckle says there was a story of a 120-foot snake crawling out of a canal in Rio de Janeiro in like 1910 or so. The militia was called to kill it. Shoot, I hope they bombed it.
Bro, just add that to the number of reasons why I'm not going to go to Rio.
Yeah, there's anacondas that are just huge.
I would love to see the massive statue of T-posing Jesus, but I mean, not for the cost of going to Rio.
Yeah, I've been to Brazil.
Cole says the shoe bill sounds like a machine gun. Yeah, I've watched a video.
Oh yeah,
it's creepy, and the bird looks like it wants to kill you.
Yeah, it looks like it's about to catch a murder charge. It enters a room with that strut, and it's just like looking up at you. It's like, now hold on. What
Mark Napier
Kubrick
says if
film
you
is
bow
this
your
thing
head, the
from?
shoe bill won't attack you. That's good to know.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to take that chance, but okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good not getting that close to it. I mean, on one hand, they're kind of adorable. On the other hand, I don't really want to chance that.
Yeah, this thing was nasty. I remember the guys wouldn't get in the enclosure with it to feed it fish or whatever they were feeding it. They would knock in there.
John Doe says shoe bills look like they belong at a Chuck E. Cheese. You mean Rat Pizza and Kid Casino?
Yeah.
Come on down to the Kid Casino. Oh, man. Jimmy said even the platypus is like...
Yeah, the male platypus is actually venomous.
They have a venomous back claw. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Marshall Sirota says, "Hey y'all, sorry DA, sorry I haven't been around a while. I haven't seen you in a good long while, dude. Thank you for coming back. We enjoy having you around. It's good to see you again, brother.
Welcome back to the land of believe. I don't know. The land of the bizarre. Welcome to the bizarre bazaar.
Well, it's even like coral snakes, man. Everybody thinks when a coral snake bites you, you're dead. That coral snake has to stay on you and dig its fangs.
It has to chew through your skin because its fangs are so short.
Right. I mean, that's what everybody, the most dangerous snake we have down here is the pygmy rattlesnake.
Well, I mean, the deadliest spider known to mankind is actually the daddy longlegs because its venom is the worst for humans. Its fangs just can't puncture our skin.
No.
I used to catch those stupid things all the time as a kid. Never knew they were poisonous.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, their fangs can't punch our skin. So, I mean, maybe if we have like an 8-legged freaks type situation where we start having massive ones coming after us, sure, then they're a threat. But then you just get the 12 gauge and sort that situation out real quick.
Yeah, I got nailed by a brown recluse when I was out turkey hunting. Man.
Those
I've been hit by one of those before.
That thing messed my knee up bad.
I got bit right on the inside of the leg, just above my knee. I was working in a warehouse at the time, and I had no health insurance at the time. I was just a young idiot, and I took an X-Acto knife and lanced it open and squeezed the venom and squeezed the gunk out of it.
Oh yeah!
And I did that like every other day for like a month, and it finally just went away.
Yeah, that's what they did to me at the hospital.
Jimmy says the platypus females have barbs on the bottoms of their feet that are horrendously venomous.
Nasty.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Eli Harrison says, I heard a story about a pilot in the Vietnam War that saw a giant snake that supposedly was knocking down trees and leaving trails behind. That's a big snake.
That's too big of a snake.
Incidentally, anybody ever tried snake? I've had a couple of different types. It's pretty good.
That's one of the few animals that I haven't eaten.
I've had rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake, and I think it was actually 2 different kinds of rattlesnake. But they were both pretty good. I had one in chili and one that was just fried, lightly breaded and fried. Everybody always uses the strange, everything tastes like chicken. Rattlesnake does to an extent, but it's very greasy.
Yeah, it's almost like duck. Most deaths are from coral snakes. Well.
John Doe says, good news, daddy longlegs aren't actually venomous and couldn't harm anything larger than an insect even if they could penetrate your skin. I did double check that just now, and he is actually correct. But he does say, bad news, the actual most venomous spider, very much so, can kill you dead.
I hate spiders. Doesn't matter whether they're venomous or not. I just don't like them. Jimmy G says, I've heard snake jerky is good. Y'all should make a trip to Australia sometime. Yes, everything can kill you, but to make up for it, everything is also delicious. I would love to come down to Australia.
I would love to come down to Australia. Jimmy, when are you going to fly me down there?
Send us a couple of tickets. We'll be right down. And I'm game to try just about anything once.
I will try everything. Probably more than once.
It's like moving to Florida. Everything down here basically will kill you too. Jeez.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The weather. Rethink Inc. says I had a black widow in a jar I caught in my garage in Colorado. When I was an idiot kid, we used to catch snakes all the time and keep them in jars, and one of the ones I had was a black widow. But I didn't know it was poisonous at the time. I just thought it was a neat-looking spider.
Yeah, that's common down here for us. Brown recluse and black widows down here. Find them anywhere. Anywhere it's damp. So.
Well, I mean, there have been
Marshall Sirota
cases
says
here.
Sandy Hill crane does not taste like chicken; it tastes like ribeye.
Oh, there's there's been reported cases here in Missouri of scorpions being found in houses. Like,
Yeah. My Uncle Buddy, before he passed away, we would find scorpions, little kind of almost clear looking ones, in his house all the time.
Yeah, we have wood scorpions here, man, and they hurt. Let me tell you when they hit you.
And down in New Mexico and Arizona and Nevada, they've got bark scorpions, and they actually have some deadly venom.
We used to catch scorpions down in New Mexico and Arizona that were black and about yay long. We'd throw them in a hole and watch them fight with tarantulas.
What, the emperor scorpion, right? The emperor scorpion,
yeah. The emperor scorpions are down there, and the bark scorpions are also down there, and those things have deadly venom. And I was doing research on camel spiders, even though I'm terrified of spiders. Yeah, that was a really smart move on my part. But there are actually a type of camel spider native to like that same region with bark scorpions. It's apparently a crossbreed between bark scorpions and some sort of spider that's down there. And it's just cementing the idea that I don't want to go anywhere near the Mojave Desert.
Yeah, they get big. Camel spiders get massive, man.
That's why they invented shotguns.
They get pretty big.
I was going to say that's why they invented the flamethrower.
Yeah. Baki says, I just got on. Has anyone mentioned Gustav yet? Rumored to have killed 300 people and supposedly survived an RPG explosion. Holy crap. A freaking crocodile took an RPG hit and lived.
That's the one I was telling you about in Africa.
Yeah, we talked about Gustav.
Yeah,
God
Gustav
dang.
was there.
Up-armored lizard.
Bro.
Yeah, it was killing soldiers out there. I remember that. And they had a big
GVG says, the camel spider, also known as nature's Viagra. Yeah, I'm going to take your word on that one. I'm not going to delve into that one.
I'm good. I'm good not trying to figure out the natural Viagraphical effects of camel spider.
Oh, that one picture that was going around the internet from Desert Storm. They had that giant
holding that gigantic one up.
Those were two camel spiders together. It wasn't one. It was just two laying together.
Don't like that. Or is that the banana spider, Jimmy says?
Banana spiders are nasty.
Yeah, we got them here.
They kill a lot of people every year.
We got them. We got those black and white ones we call, I guess, banana spiders here. Those black and yellow. They're big. They're massive. Here.
Well, the people that harvest bananas, they lose people every year when they go to cut the bananas down and the spiders bite them.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nasty spider. It's a big spider, too.
That's a nasty way to go, too. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't want to mess with any kind of spider. I don't want to mess with any spider. I don't like spiders. I can deal with snakes. I know how to deal with snakes. Spiders freak me out.
Oh, yeah. Keep spiders away from me, man.
Yeah, I will burn the house down to avoid killing a spider.
Or just get it in the bottom of a styrofoam cup.
Well, one time when I was a cop, we found this gigantic spider about yay big on the wall, and we hit it with pepper spray. It does work on spiders, I'll tell you that.
But it also clears the room.
That it will.
Really? They got tarantulas in Kansas? Didn't know that.
Yeah, we have them here in Missouri.
I didn't know that.
What, tarantulas?
You can find them.
Yeah,
we have tarantulas.
Oh, yeah.
I figured we'd have them here in Florida. We don't have them here.
See, I'm terrified of spiders. I hate the things, but tarantulas don't freak me out that much. I guess because they don't produce webs. I guess that's really my only issue with spiders is like webs.
Yeah.
Any sort of web shooting spiders. Ugh.
Still crazy. Chris says, "Well, time for me to go to bed. We start talking spiders. We can change the subject. We just somehow got off on that.
We get off subject.
Yeah. We've been getting a bit tangential. Let's move away. Let's move back to
let's get away from the
sea
spiders.
creatures.
Spiders freak me out.
So y'all ever heard of sea spider?
To me, that's all lobsters are, is just ocean going scorpions.
Mm-hmm.
No, because they're tasty. Scorpions, I don't know if they're tasty, and I don't want to find out.
Just water bugs, man. Ugh.
That is.
Oh, dude,
We did that last night. I was telling you I was on the show, and Carrie had Mark Zaski on and Jimmy from 168, and I spoke to Jimmy off the air for about 2 hours last night. And then I plugged the show, your show.
Awesome, thank you.
On Carrie, and Carrie gave you good props. He's like, "Oh, I love him. He's a great guy," and all this. And I spoke to Jimmy, and I asked him, maybe, coming on, I want to get with Mark. Maybe he'll come on the show,
That'd be great.
talk
I'd
about
love to
it.
have him on.
Because he's got some good material, man. Mark has some real good material, So yeah, well, I'll figure it out.
Definitely get those guys my contact info, and we'll see about getting them on the show. That would be a good time.
Yeah, I told him I'd figure it out. Get going.
I've been checking the weather reports. I know I was supposed to be in LBL this weekend.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah,
weather doesn't seem like a good plan.
I didn't really have the money to go this month. It kind of ran. We were running shorter than I'd planned, so we didn't end up being able to afford to go. We were going to stay in cabins near the area, but considering the weather they're getting right now, I'm not really sorry I missed.
Yeah, I know. No,
They're
the weather through there is pretty bad right now.
They're getting snowed in, aren't they? Tomorrow?
Yeah. I got some nasty weather rolling through that.
Oh
area.
yeah.
Yeah, my wife's family, they're up by you, DA.
Where they
They're
at?
up
Branson?
Branson? Branson? Yeah, it's Branson.
Yeah, that's like half hour away.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not far.
Yeah. They're up there. They're on a lake up there. I can't think of the name of the lake.
Is it Taneycomo or Table Rock?
I guess they call it what, the mini, she was telling me, they call it the mini Nashville up there.
That's Branson. Yeah, that's
Branson, yeah.
Nashville or the Ozarks.
Yeah. They're on a lake. I got to get the name of the lake that they're on.
There's two lakes right there at Branson. Branson itself sits on Lake Taneycomo, but just above Branson is Table Rock Lake. Both are beautiful lakes.
Maybe it is Table Rock. It might be.
Yeah, they're both beautiful lakes. A lot of beautiful homes in that area.
Yeah, he does remodeling and stuff. So they bought this house and he remodeled it, and they were going to sell it. And she's like, "No, we're staying here." So that's where they live. So.
John Doe says, question, have you heard of the Japanese giant spider crab? If not, I would not recommend looking it up on Google Images.
No,
yeah, I can see that would probably give me
I'm bringing it up right now. Oh, yeah, I've seen these things.
Derek Buckle says, it's cold here and not much snow, but I'm 2 hours north of LBL.
Yeah.
I do regret that I didn't get to go. I'm sorry I didn't get to go hang out with those guys. But with my arthritis being out there, then that kind of temperature probably would not have been good. Jimmy G says, is it Fulton, Missouri that has the congressional fallout bunker beneath the hotel? I don't know.
Oh, no.
But if you guys have ever heard of the crazy rich fallout shelter that was built in this area, I believe they call it Pinsmore Castle. That is 15 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. And it's out near Highlandville, Missouri. I tried to get out there to film, and security on that place is tight. You can't get anywhere near it. I had a buddy that sent a drone up in the air from the road and was like trying to send it that way, and he got shot down by a shotgun.
Your son's got the picture up of this thing.
That is a nasty looking crab.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
I'm going to go with nope. We'll call that the giant nope.
Yeah, it's like the coconut crab.
Yeah, those things get huge.
Yeah, those things are good too. Yeah, those things are good to eat too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Still Crazy Chris says Branson's only 20 minutes in a 5.0 Mustang. Doesn't have to be a 5.0 Mustang. I've done it in a minivan. You can ask Noah.
No. Don't ask me. Don't make me admit to any of your illegal wrongdoings.
I've done it in a Ford Ranger.
I've driven that that Dodge minivan that we had. I've driven that thing like it was an Interceptor. Eli Harrison says about 3 hours east of LBL, we got 5 inches of snow last night.
Holy
yeah, glad I'm not at that
shit.
campground.
Can you imagine? You would be hating life right now.
Yeah, I got
Oof.
since the back injury, I've got really bad arthritis in my lower back thanks to that stenosis. But also, and Noah can attest to this, at some point during my law enforcement career, every finger on both hands has been taped to the one next to it. I've broken so many knuckles and fingers over the years fighting with people.
Mine too, man.
I get horrible
Mine too.
arthritis.
He's been in
my hands now.
a lot of different instances of tape finger.
I'm the
My shoulder.
when I was on the CERT team. When I was on the riot team, I never wanted to be the second guy through the door. I always wanted to be the first one, which probably attributes to why I had so many broken fingers and stuff like that. I used to be something of a scrapper back in the day, and even as a child, my mother said I would blunder in where angels feared to tread. So it's just kind of the summary of my life.
Oh, I can't do anything that I used to anymore, man. There's no
I'm
way.
right there with
I
you,
can't
brother.
do it. I cannot run and gun anymore. Can't do it. I can't. I used to do private security. I can't keep up.
Still Crazy Chris says it was back in 1990 when we would go through Reed Springs before the new highway. Reed Springs is actually a neat little town. They used to have a UFO museum there, but it went out. But that little right there on the main strip, when you go into Reed Spring and you go underneath the little wooden bridge that has the railroad that runs over it. But right as soon as you turn left, right there next to the school in Reed Springs is this little dairy shack. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like Pop's Dairy Shack or something like that. It's just some little local place, but they have some of the best burgers I've ever had. That place, it's just a little dive in the middle of nowhere. But if you order an ice cream cone, it's like this big. I mean, it is massive, and just a neat little place to stop and eat.
Don't you guys have like a Bigfoot place? Like something like an exhibit?
There are places,
like a
places
bus
all over the place
that takes down stuff.
Yeah, that's in Branson. You can do the Bigfoot tour, which is
it's a loaded.
Really commercial. They've also got Bigfoot mini golf there, but they've got these things like those like plywood cutouts that look like Bigfoot. They have the shape of Bigfoot, and they spray paint them black. They've got those stationed out in the woods, and when you take the Bigfoot tour, in the distance you can see the shape of Bigfoot walking between the trees. It's pretty cheesy. And I'm just waiting for the day that one of them actually shows up and everybody on the bus craps themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, we've had a number of Bigfoot sightings around us. I mean, we're talking about the Missouri Monster, or Momo. I mean, there's been a number of those sightings around.
There have been a lot of Dogman sightings in the area too.
That's true as well.
My uncle her uncle was telling us, we went on a cruise last year to the Caribbean, and they came in from Missouri, and we were on the cruise, and he was telling me, and she's like, yeah, he believes in Bigfoot, and he's seen Bigfoot, and this and that. And looked at her and went, I seen one too, right across the back property of the house by the lake. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. He goes, your Aunt Glinda seen it too. And she's like, yeah, we did. And she shut up right away. She was like, huh? It's like, what?
It's funny, you get to talking to some of the locals that live out in the country here, and you'll hear stories that they don't tell in polite company, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Still Crazy Chris agrees with me. She loves the ice cream there. Great little place. It's still there. It's just that now the highway bypasses Reed Springs. You've got to deliberately detour into Reed Springs.
And then there's Mr. Ed's, which is also a really good ice cream place.
Mr. Ed's is about an hour north of here on 65. That's some really good ice cream and food.
The food's pretty middle of the road.
Yeah, the food's basically
it's diner food.
Yeah, it's a little diner food, but the ice cream.
The ice cream's really, really good.
Yeah, we had a place in South Florida called Jackson's. They would give you a sink, a real sink full of ice cream. They bring it out to you.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, it was called the kitchen sink, and you got it. It looked like a giant banana split lit, man. It was huge.
Mondoc 40 and
Yeah, it
Research
was
says
awesome.
Brockway Supper Club, the BS Club in Brockway, Montana, has an awesome burger. I would like to try that. If you guys have read my books, especially if you've read Apex Predator Horned Moon, I talk about the little town of Rockaway Beach, Missouri. There's a little place there called Pizza Cellar, and it's really there. It's a real restaurant. If you go to Rockaway Beach, you can't miss it. But my old lieutenant James Jenkins, him and his wife Martha, told me about that place years ago, and their food is just amazing.
Where?
It's one of those off the beaten path little places.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Pizza Cellar. You can
And it's
you
where?
can Google it. It's in Rockaway Beach, Missouri.
We had a Rockaway Beach in New York where I grew up.
Really, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
However, the two best pizza places I've ever had, one is the best thin crust pizza I've ever had, is actually here in Springfield. It's over on Commercial Street. It's called Pizza House.
Their
Hands
pizza's
down,
really good.
the best thin crust
Yeah.
pizza I've ever had.
Say,
However,
Marshall.
the best pizza I've ever had was in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
I
There's
like,
a place
I
called-
like Chicago style thick pizza.
There's a place
just
called
my favorite kind.
Pisano's up there in Chicago.
Mhm.
Hands down, the absolute best pizza I've ever put in my mouth.
Bill Sloan says I
Marshall
should make a
brought up.
cookbook. You know, I thought about that because I've talked about a lot of the things that they've cooked in the books and stuff. I should put recipes for Gunny's coffee from the Ragnarok Rising books and Jay Matoska's coffee from the Apex Predator books. I should put those in there.
Marshall brought up the comment about Jackson. I grew up with Dania Beach. It was in Dania, Florida. Yeah, that's where it is.
John Doe says, and also an official Wild Hunt field cookbook would be cool.
Field cookbook. Hey, yo.
That would be a
some
good
pretty
idea.
creative recipes with ramen noodles and MREs back in the day.
Yeah, I could contest
Heck,
that.
I've got
one.
a couple MRE. You want to get creative with those things?
Still crazy,
Used to
Chris says,
fight
I'll have
over-
to try that. When are we going, DA? I'll let you drive.
Used to-
Say the word. It's if you know how to get to Branson down 65, shortly before you get to Branson, you'll see the signs that say turn off for Rockaway Beach. Just drive down to Rockaway Beach and drive right along the lake, and you will see it at the top of the hill next to Lake Taneycomo. It's called the Pizza Cellar, and it's worth the drive just for their breadsticks. Just the breadsticks alone are worth the drive.
Derek Buckles in your chat said, I made smash burgers tonight topped with Grippo's barbecue chips. It was wonderful.
Sounds
Dude,
good.
Smash burgers are so good. I freaking love smash burgers.
Dude, send me the recipe for that. I'll add it to the cookbook. Mondoc 40 and Research says the recipe for grandfather's coffee. Woohoo! It's a big secret, so that's when you'll have to buy the cookbook to learn the secret. Lanita Bryant says, Lanita's Country Kitchen. I'll cook you up something awesome. That sounds good. I'm a big guy. You know I like food.
And I was a culinary major, so I absolutely love food. There was absolutely no way that I was going to go into anything else because I was like, I'm a fat boy at heart who absolutely loves food, so let's just make better food.
Speaking of food, we still need to make something good tonight.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a big package of pork chops in the fridge, so I'm thinking of spicing those up and making some mashed potatoes and green beans and corn.
Okay, you're getting me hungry. Stop.
Yeah, we're on the section of the channel where we start talking about food.
Food.
It always happens. At some point, we start talking food.
Now I'm hungry.
You know what I found?
Damn.
You know what I found? Despite loving like seasoning things myself and liking to go through and using just the basic spices on pork, I absolutely love just Cavender's on them.
Cavender's is good on pork.
Cavender's is so good on pork chops, and I can season them to be really, really good, but at the end of the day, why would I waste the time to figure out how I want to season them when I can just chuck some Cavender's on them and it's still really freaking good?
Eli Harrison says, my wife made me homemade chicken and dumplings last night that could bring peace to the Middle East. I love chicken and dumplings. One of my favorite
Me too.
meals. If there's an interest in it, I might do a DA verse cookbook of different recipes used in different books. I might, if people are interested in it. If you guys are interested in it, let me know. You can, say something here or in the Discord, and you can specify which recipes you'd like to see and things like that. I can see me doing that, making that a downloadable PDF where everybody can get the recipes.
I could probably litter a few of my secret recipes in there here or there.
It sounds good.
Although I don't know how you would. So is it gonna be like campfire recipes or like
a little of both? I mean, just different recipes.
Okay, so we'll save the stir fry recipe for a different cookbook.
Sounds good. Mondoc 40 and Research says, I just had a fried green tomato bacon cheeseburger from Roy Rogers Saloon in Terry, Montana tonight. That sounds good.
Bacon cheeseburger. Ooh.
Mondoc says he's in just for grandfather's coffee. Bill Sloan says, I'll buy one and donate a recipe. Well, yeah, if you guys want me to make this happen, email the recipes you would like to have included, and I'll definitely be including some of the ones I've mentioned and stuff like that in the books. But email me at daroberts@daroberts.net. We might have to make this recipe book happen. That'll be co-authored by me and my son Noah.
Hey.
I think we could come up with some really good homegrown recipes that everybody can enjoy.
We'll have to make a trip or two to the farmer's market on Saturday.
I told Mondoc how to make Gunny's coffee, and he loves it. So I'll have to try. He'll have to try grandfather's coffee next and see if he likes it. Oh, Werewolf 5674 says I was in the spot where they saw Momo last month. Dude, I hope he took a lot of pictures. That would be awesome.
Wait, which spot where they saw Momo?
Yeah, where did they see it? Where was the sighting?
Yeah, there's been a few of those. Are you talking like over at Wilson's Creek Battleground or like?
Marshall Sirota says I'm a Cajun by birth. I can cook using the Holy Trinity. You got to have green peppers. You got to have onions. And is it celery or carrots? The Holy
Trinity and
Cajun
carrots.
Cooking. So it's celery, carrots, and I think it's green peppers. The Holy Trinity.
I got family in Louisiana. That's all they cook like crazy.
Mondoc says I'll have to submit the homemade pizza dough and maybe the sauce as well. That sounds good.
Yo.
When I make pasta sauce, it's a multi-hour event. Noah can tell you.
Oh yeah,
pasta sauce is made from scratch and takes hours to get it right.
Oh, I could tell you some. Come on, I'm Italian, man. My dad was a chef too. I can cook.
Yeah, throw in some recipes, brother.
I can cook.
Still Crazy Chris says my recipes consist of a lot of this, more of that, a pinch of this, and dip in 2 eggs, and you got a homemade crunchy chicken thighs. Yummy, yummy. That sounds good. Mondoc says he's going to have Gunny's coffee tonight. Data Quester says Steve Lilly says Bigfoot tastes like pork, but don't eat it. It'll make you sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that Steve Lilly story.
Yeah. Cam did that on his show that night. He fed it to the barbecue.
Marshall Sirota says garlic butter and cayenne pepper. Hey man, I put Tony Chachere's on everything. You can ask Noah. That's my secret ingredient. I'm making eggs. What? Tony Chachere's. Making pork. Tony Chachere's.
I got to send you some of that seasoning we have here. It's called Everglades.
Ooh, I want to try that then.
It's
I
called
recently
Everglades
got some seasoning. I got some seasoning from the website that Cowboy Kent Rollins has.
Mm-hmm.
I got the mesquite and the original Kent Rollins seasoning. Mm-hmm. Both very good seasoning.
I love his show.
His
show's
fantastic.
awesome.
My wife and I watch it together.
Love
In fact,
his show.
I've tried several of his recipes, and they've all been fantastic.
His recipe for Sloppy Joe is very, very good.
And his what is it?
Fettuccine Alfredo?
Fettuccine Alfredo was amazing.
Oh, I got a good recipe for that. Ooh.
I actually don't have a recipe for fettuccine Alfredo, so I'll happily take that from you.
That recipe that Cowboy Kent Rollins made was so good.
All right. Well, I'm not wearing socks. I'm not even wearing shoes.
It's
You're
so
lucky I'm
simple.
wearing jeans.
It's so simple that it'll blow your mind if I tell you about it. It really is.
Derek Buckle says, DA, did you see the one of the latest Dixie Cryptid videos concerning the USGS team going underground and encountering Bigfoot? Yes, I did. That was a fantastic story.
Yeah, we
In
were
fact,
talking
when Cam
about that.
gets back from LBL, I'm going to see if he can put me in contact with the lady that sent him that story.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get her on the show.
Yeah, that was a good story. I actually texted you about that.
Research says, that was a great story. Mondoc 40 and Research says, ranchers rub from wild trees, shut the front door. Bill Sloan says his chicken fried steak was fantastic. Yeah, Cowboy Kent Rollins beat Bobby Flay with his chicken fried steak recipe.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on chicken fried steak. Oh my god. I would eat that for every meal.
Oh yeah,
I love chicken fried steak.
Except for that restaurant we went to down. I won't name them. I
Except
won't
for
name them
that
by
restaurant.
name.
Except for that place.
There's a restaurant in Cape Fair, Missouri that I tried the chicken fried steak.
Their catfish was underwhelming at best.
Yeah, I have nothing good to say about this particular restaurant, but I won't name them by name. Still Crazy Chris says Everglades fish and chicken is good. Isn't Everglades chicken just alligator tail?
Yeah, well, yeah. Everglades. They say, well, like they said, Everglades fish, that's what it is. It's alligator.
Alligator's good. I've had it.
I love gator.
Yeah,
Gator
is good. Gator is good.
Dad.
Yeah, buddy.
I've been wanting to workshop a recipe for fried pickle chips. Ooh. So we need to get a either an air fryer or an actual fryer, or just some frying oil in a saucepan.
We need to get our own recipe for pickle chips because I love a good.
Because I mean, like I have a batter recipe that I've yet to use, besides in one of my culinary classes, and I know it's very, very good.
There's a Cajun place here in town that makes really good pickle chips. But their pickles, they pickle them themselves, and they've got a little heat to them. And
oh yeah, they spice up the vinegar a little bit so that way they pickle them like with a little bit of heat to them, and then they chop them and fry them. They're so freaking good.
Now you guys are just making me hungry.
Me too. I'm like,
well, we've reached the point in the show where we've stopped talking cryptids and we've started talking food.
About food. Usually go to another subject of cryptid, but
well, that's pretty par for the course with me around. I mean, it's like what should we do for food? And then everyone looks over at me.
Oh yeah, you went to school for it, so yeah.
Yeah, you're culinary. You're the culinary guy.
What should we do about food?
Oh no, he said it. He said Everglades seasoning, fish on chicken. Yes, Everglades seasoning is awesome. Yes, it is. I gotta send DA. I gotta send you some too to his son. It's really good. Actually, I think they came out with a variety pack now. They have, but you can get it at. You guys have a Publix up there, supermarket or no?
Publix? No, we don't have a Publix anywhere near us.
Okay, so yeah, I'll grab some at Publix and send it to you. But yeah.
Hey, man! I'm not a mini me version of my dad. All right. You take that back. You take them's fighting words.
I will square up with you right now.
Well, you kind of are.
No. You're big me. I'm not mini you. All right.
I was this way first. You don't get you don't get to claim first status. I was on its way already. Data Quester says gators are really good, but snapping turtle is even better. I think it's illegal to hunt them in certain states. I've had snapping turtle. It is really good.
You can have turtle in Florida. You can hunt them here.
Oh man, I've never had turtle, and I feel like I would have a little bit of moral dilemma with eating turtle.
Not snapping turtle. They're just evil.
Snapping turtle. Yeah, they're little shits. So I mean, I'm gonna eat them.
The best turtle is soft shell turtle.
I've had turtles several ways, different turtles.
Good.
Still Crazy Chris says it's called Everglades fish and chicken season.
Yeah,
I'll have to look for that.
You know, we're sitting here talking about food, and I suppose I should bring up something pertaining to food. That I am actually sponsored by HelloFresh. And if anyone comes into my chat and uses !HelloFresh, you can grab my code, get free shipping on your first order, and you get a whole lot of good deals. So, I mean, like, get on over here, right?
Mondoc 40 in research says mini me of the mailman, LOL. I've made that joke before.
I look just like my brother, so that would have to be a very committed mailman.
That followed us through several addresses.
That mailman would have to be very committed.
Nailman 10. She says, yes, it snowed last night at LBL, got down to 17 degrees. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to go. I really wish I could have been there, but with my arthritis, I'm down to 17 degrees. I'm not real sorry.
Yeah,
so let me put this in terms real quick, pertaining to Dad's profession. Dad, you're more like the rough draft version. I'm like the final edit.
You're not that polished, you little turd. Mom Dog 40 in research says UPS guy. That's funny.
I don't know, man. I don't wear enough cargo shorts to be related to a UPS guy.
Good point. Although I have seen you wear shorts in the dead of winter.
I mean, yeah, I'll go shorts and shirtless during the winter. The cold never bothered me anyway.
There you go. Mark Napier says, my girls had 3 pet snapping turtles when they were little. Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello. I guess Raphael was right out.
So my chat brings up a good point. We are not talking about sea monsters.
Yeah. Welcome to DAX Machina. We can manage to stick on topic for only so long. It's just the way it happens.
All right, new topic. You got 3 minutes until the next one starts.
Yeah, Naomi had some good stories on Cam's show the past couple of days. I've listened to
Naomi does a great job on those shows.
Mm-hmm. I love listening to her voice.
If you haven't checked out any of Naomi's stuff, I hope you guys will check it out. Let me pull up the links. I know I've got them in here somewhere. You can check out Naomi over the Dixie Cryptid podcast, which is youtube.com/Dixie Cryptid. You can also check out Naomi on the What If It's True podcast, which is whatifitstruepodcast.com. And I don't know if I've got Naomi's personal podcast on here. Let me grab it and I will drop the link. That's my YouTube channel, which everybody, you're kind of there. Didn't mean to hit that. That was just one of those.
Way to go.
Wrong click of the mouse.
But real quick, I just want to say hi to Naomi. Been a while since I've seen you. Hopefully you're doing all right.
She's an LBL, so.
No,
she's
she
an LBL? Oh, damn.
She came home. She came home, she said.
Oh.
Came home today. A lot of people left last night. And this morning, there are still several people there tonight.
Naomi says it's not big enough to have a cool name link yet. It's just a bunch of Ghibli. Well, I just shared it, so hopefully we'll send a few people your direction.
Yeah, you guys have to listen to her. Her voice is amazing.
Yeah, she does a great job.
It just draws you into the story when she talks. So,
Naomi, I'm glad to hear that you're doing well.
Speaking of Naomi.
What's up?
Speaking of Naomi, she did a commercial for my books. I'll go ahead and show that right now.
From the mind of author D.A. Roberts. Cryptids. Lakeview Man. Apex Predator. Codename Wild Hunt. Zombies. The Ragnarok Rising Saga. Science fiction and fantasy. Lost Legion. Find them all at daroberts.net or amazon.com.
I love that. Naomi, you did an awesome job on that, and thank you so much for that.
Oh, man. My chat over here is killing me.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Jimmy said that he was sick yesterday, and so that's why he wasn't on for any games, but he's better now. And I said, yeah, dude, I'm glad to hear it. And he goes, you're glad to hear I was sick? Well, I guess I'll go f myself. Oh, man. Meg Mills says -1 wind chill.
Whew. That's nasty.
We had that like
last week.
Did we have a -1 wind chill last week?
I think it got pretty cold last week.
It got pretty cold. I don't know if it got that cold though, but I know it got real cold back in January.
Yeah,
we had a
30
we had
degrees
a
to freeze.
We had a -5 wind chill at one point in January, which was really brisk.
That's
you
putting
guys
it
get,
mildly.
Yeah, we're getting 30-degree weather with a freeze tonight in Florida.
That's a panic season in Florida.
Yeah, that's for
People
them.
Don't know how to handle a freeze.
No. Oh, it snowed here before, man.
In Florida?
Oh yeah, it snowed in Jacksonville.
It didn't happen.
No, that happened. I seen it. It snowed. It was actually snowing when I was hunting about 4 years ago on my property. It snowed. It flurried. Yeah.
We don't get snow around here. We get ice.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in northern Florida. I'm in Ocala. I'm right in a valley almost.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets when we get a cold front, it stays. So.
Well, most places get 4 seasons in a year. Missouri will do it in the afternoon.
Yeah. We don't get 4 seasons here. I wish we did.
Well, we are coming up on the actually just past the 2.5 hour mark. Yeah, we're rapidly approaching the 3 hour mark. Well, I'm pretty sure we covered the topic, even though we got diverted wildly. If you guys want the link I used, let me find it again, and I will.
I have it still up. I can send it.
Okay.
In the,
yes.
in the chat.
Yeah, put that in the chat. It's a cryptid.
I don't have your chat up, but there's the private chat.
Okay. If you go to this cryptid link, you can check out all of the lake monsters we referenced, as well as many others that we didn't get into. That cryptid wiki is a really good resource. It doesn't give you a vast amount of knowledge, but it gives you a little bit of knowledge about a lot of different subjects. So if you're into cryptozoology and you enjoy learning about these monsters, it's a great place to start. You can learn just about just about anything. You can find references to all kinds of cryptids, but again, it's general information. You don't get a whole lot of details. So there's a lot of good information there to be had. You want to use that as a starting point for your investigation if you're looking into more of these cryptids. Mm-hmm. But it is a good place to start.
And I mean, like even like local libraries have books on cryptozoology. Oh
yeah,
I mean, like, you can find books on cryptozoology
damn near
anywhere.
There's tons of them on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Naomi said that Cam was outside making coffee in his shorts this morning.
I wish she'd captured video of that.
You should have took pictures.
I would pay money for that.
Yeah, that would have been good.
Yeah, that would have loved to have had pictures of that.
Oh,
how cold is it over there?
In Missouri?
Well, LBL.
I think they said 17 degrees.
Yeah, you could keep that.
Yeah, it's 34 right here. Like
they're
here
only
in Missouri,
6 hours away from here. They got a cold front going through the area.
What are you, 34 degrees right now?
Yeah, we're 34
we're
right
now, which is
a
bit warm for what it's been the last week or so.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially after we got that freaking torrential downpour the other day.
You're in Missouri. I'm in Florida, and it's hitting 30 degrees tonight. That's crazy.
Weird for Florida. Maybe to kill off some of them pythons.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, they do. Those iguanas die from the cold, man. When they get a cold front, they fall out of the trees. They actually tell people to watch out for falling iguanas. I'm not
like
lying.
the drop bears in Australia.
Yeah, it's funny.
I heard that they actually don't account for many kills as far as koalas go.
Beware of falling koala.
I've heard it's more of just they land in front of people and they just go, oh shit.
Some of them live, man. They're getting so adapted to the cold weather when they have a cold front. It's ridiculous that their whole evolution's adapting to the cold weather now.
Animals do adapt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the weird thing. Animals adapt to survive.
That is crazy. And if you ever go to South Florida, ever get a chance, and you're down, let's say Fort Lauderdale, go down and just go down the neighborhoods and look down the canals. You'll see them all laying on the grass, everywhere down the canal. Massive ones.
Yeah, that would be terrifying to see all those big snakes in there too. I hate snakes.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, everything. Dude, they got so much stuff down there. It's nuts.
Well, folks, I appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Noah, thank you for jumping in. I know you're usually playing video games on your stream, and
I
for you
probably
to jump
will
in
be for the next hour. So
it's still a lot of fun. I appreciate you jumping in. Anthony, brother, thank you for jumping in.
Hey,
I
man,
really appreciate it.
Nice meeting you, man. Nice meeting your son.
Nice meeting you, Anthony.
You too,
and Doc,
man.
if you listen to the rest of the show, I hope you enjoyed it. Brother, thank you for being here. Join us our regular scheduled time on Wednesday next week. I haven't got the show posted yet. I'll have the information of the show up probably tonight or tomorrow. Again, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We had a really good time. Aquatic cryptids are not necessarily my forte, but I'm trying to branch out of my comfort zone and start talking about things I don't normally talk about, because in my heart of hearts, my two favorites are always going to be Bigfoot and Dogman, and I will always circle back to those. But I'm wanting to start bringing other cryptids to the show. And again, if you guys are part of the Discord community, there are places in the Discord community, discussions where you can suggest show ideas you would like to see, or you can continue the conversations that we're having now. I pop in and out of the Discord all the time. Again, thank you guys for joining us. We've had a great time tonight. We actually stayed on topic for a little while, which is, kind of a golden thing for us. It doesn't always happen, but hey, we stayed on for a little while. Again, if you want to learn more about cryptids, check out that link we posted in the chat. And if you guys would like to become part of the Patreon community, we would certainly appreciate the support, because it does help grow not only this channel, but the DA verse itself. There are various levels of the Patreon community where you can actually get involved in how things are shaped in the future of the books. And that's at patreon.com/DA Roberts Author. If you want to become a member of the channel, down at the bottom of the YouTube screen, you'll see a little join button. There's a couple of levels. You can decide which level is right for you. You can help support the channel that way, and you'll have access to exclusive video content that is only going to be available to the members of the channel and the patrons over at the Patreon community. So I hope you guys will look into that and check it out. We're going to have some really good videos coming up that are just going to be there alone. Again, thank you guys for being here. Anthony, Noah, thank you guys for jumping. Doc, thank you guys for being here. We had a really good time tonight. Mm-hmm. And really enjoyed the conversations. You guys are absolutely awesome, and we're thrilled to have you guys here. I've said it before. I will continue to say it. We don't have fans. We have friends. You guys are all like family, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Again,
I hope I'm like family.
What's that, bud?
I said I'd hope I'm like family.
Yeah, not you. I don't mean you. But yeah, I appreciate you folks. I've said it again. I'll say it again. Stories are journeys that we take together. And thank you guys so much for taking this journey with us. I really appreciate you guys being here. We've had a great time. There's much more out there that you can talk about river and lake monsters. And that website we posted is just a springboard to kind of give you a taste of what's out there, and you can do more of your own research from there. But come back with us on Wednesday night and next Saturday night, and we'll hopefully have some more great content. And you guys are always welcome. Appreciate you guys coming. And we had a fantastic time tonight. So
still crazy Chris said, nice to meet your son, DA. Nice to meet you too. And just real quick, a little bit of shameless self-plug here, I suppose. I'm going to be going for the next hour and 15 minutes over at my link, twitch.tv/Jorgamender. So once he's out of here, I'm going to be playing some video games and just kind of hanging out. if you guys want to keep this conversation going, by all means, you can hop over into my chat and we can keep talking about cryptos and all that sort of cryptids, not cryptos. Don't talk about crypto in my chat. Or food. Absolutely food.
There you go.
Yeah, more food. He has a culinary major. Also, if you guys have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to his channel for free.
And we are getting dangerously close to our 200 sub goal.
Really?
We are currently at 182 out of 200 subs.
So, again, you get a free subscription to Twitch because Twitch is owned by Amazon. So if you've got Amazon Prime and you're not using your Twitch sub, swing on by twitch.tv/JorgaMunder and throw that sub his direction. Doesn't cost you anything. It comes free with your Amazon Prime, but it certainly helps his channel grow.
Mark, he's not getting the hat back. I
probably not.
One. Also, still crazy, Chris. My name's Noah.
All my boys have N names: Nathan, Nick, and Noah.
And then we've got
name.
And then we've got Doug, our father.
Doug.
Doug.
It's DA. Come on, dude.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's like me with Anthony, Pete, Peter, or Paul. I mean, that's all we have in our family. Come on. So.
Oh man.
But again, folks, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much. Swing by twitch.tv/JorgaMunder and check him out. Show him a little love from the channel. And make sure you swing by Dark Angel Medical and check out the medical kits that they've got available. And if you haven't read any of my books, swing by daroberts.net and check out the variety of books there. I've got 25 in print. Noah, do you want me to share that link?
Yeah, I sent that in the private chat because Mondak was asking for it.
Okay. I am sharing the link to Noah's channel in the chat right now. And there it is. Should be popping up right about now. And again, you guys can support the channel at the patreon.com, patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor, or you can join and become a member of the channel here on YouTube. And make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon that helps the channel grow, and share the videos with your friends that enjoy this kind of content. Again, that is just things that just help the channel grow. And we sure appreciate you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you guys on Wednesday night. Good night, everybody.
Everybody have a great night.
Good night. You too, man.